Good evening and welcome to the Expat Man Cave. Let's bring on those man cavers, shall we, tonight? In Matosinhos, just north of Porto, is Joel. Look at that. Very nonchalant. From the man cave, the spiritual home, the original man cave in Alviagra. Garvo is here as well. The Dock.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, viewers.
Who I realise is not on the graphic there. We've got to get the Dock on there. I need a picture of you. I think I've already got one, haven't I, Dock? And our guest of honor tonight, Jordan, is with us as well. Good evening to you, Jordan. Lovely to have your company. How are you? Great to have you here. You're partly responsible for this potential debacle tonight, as we try to get to the bottom of the the perennial Portuguese debate, which is best, Superbock or Sagres Mini. Would you care to hold them up to the screen for the maybe the sort of YouTube pack shot? Well done, everybody.
And Superbock. There we go.
Well done, great job. All right, and what you got there? Is that a tin, a mini tin, Joel? Okay, excellent.
It is almost the same, if not, it takes a little bit more than this bottle here, which is the original. This is distilled with Sagres.
Okay, all right. So he's got. I mean, you've already made your mind up. I know you Joel. You're a Superbock.
I will not discuss it. Is this and that's it.
That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, pointless debate tonight from Joel. Woohoo! Man Cave Friday. Let's do this. Good evening to you, Charles. I was talking about the Cheers theme, and you sending us that, and really summing up the spirit of the Man Cave with a resonance with the Cheers TV show that used to be on. It made it to British television, so we know what you're talking about there, Charles. Evening from Stephen Wells. I'm giggling because I think Stephen makes some very funny comments, and this is an excellent environment for that, obviously. Good evening to you, Stephen. Evening all. Joseph's here as well. Farmer for fun. Brews his own wine, don't you know, over there in Fundao. I don't know what we're saying already. Oh, Jordan's ready to get on with it.
Better pick 2 straws and...
One moment, Jordan. Hold on. Hello, boy, gentlemen. Nice to be in your company after being away for a week. Great to have you back, Eric J. How was that road trip of yours? Karen's here with that's a rather excellent emoticon emoji there, isn't it? Two glasses of beer. Perfect for this evening. Kent, William, Albin is here. Up on night. Hey, Ken, love Bohemia, says Joseph. So that's a crowd pleaser that you are holding up there, Joel. Superbock, the reason I came to Portugal, says Terence Austin, brother of the Garvo. So that was a big driver for Terence then. Interesting. Oh, and one more before we get into this. D. Gomes, did anyone get to the F1 practice today? Anybody?
Don't know. Where was it? The golden age of F1 is long gone.
Oh God! Sorry to pee on your chips, there, Digo. I hope you had a nice time if you went. But actually, there are some great clips of Portuguese F1, aren't there? That is it. The Ayrton Senna moment where he takes someone on.
Nelson Piquet overtaking Ayrton Senna in GP of Estoril, if I'm not mistaken, 92. Maybe,
okay.
Which is considered one of the best overtakings so far. Which is a full drift lock from Piquet overtaking Senna on corner number 1 at the end of the straightaway.
Okay, and so for you, Joel, is Estoril the real home of Portuguese F1 and the Grand Prix?
Actually, here in Porto.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Formula One history started in Portugal on the circuit of Boa Vista. Didn't start down south. It started right here up north.
All right, there you go. A proud claim to fame for another one for Porto. Often overlooked, but not tonight here on the Man Cave. Jordan, great to have your company. New to Portugal, right? And
we landed in Lisbon 2 weeks ago.
And how's it going?
Fantastic. The lockdown hasn't been terrible except on weekends, and now it's going to be over. We were down in Ajetau today. Azetau.
Yeah.
And man, we saw a house that we almost bought. It's just fabulous. So
Yeah.
So if anybody has comments on Aizetao, I mean, I'd love to hear them.
I think it's a beautiful town. It's the headquarters of Bacalhau Wines, isn't it? And it is a beautiful, beautiful place. Great position in the country there as well, just south of Lisbon. Perfect. Okay. First mention of anti-Severin. Doesn't come here anymore, probably because of that. Kent says, farmer for fun. My young daughter, who is obsessed with wanting a sheep, loved the video tour of your farm. We all did, didn't we? That was so fantastic.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Love F1, Lando Norris. I don't know that name. Do you, Joe?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe a driver to look out for. Bless you, Ken. If you're ever in the area, please give us a visit. I'd love to show your daughter our sheep and lambs. Oh, how lovely. Especial is my favourite Portuguese beer. I have to look that up. I don't know that. Sipping on my...
Madeira or the Azores?
Oh, it's from one of the autonomous regions. Okay, sipping on my basement of my brain IPA. He's an IPA fan for sure, but he gets a different one every week from the Divine Barrel Brewing, Charlotte, North Carolina. I haven't been able to find Portuguese beer in my local stores. It's only a matter of time. Charles Mitchell, looking forward to trying those beers one day. Glauciodi Noit. I miss F1, but I agree the golden age has passed. Maybe because we don't have a leading Brazilian driver.
Oh, it's not because of that.
Oh, don't get him started. Have a good night, lads. We're off out, but thought I would give my tuppence worth first. Superbock Stout, Sagres Normal, Sagres Preta, then Superbock Normal, like a drop of Abadia and Bohemia also. So there's Andy's input via Austin Foot. All right, then. So we better get on with it before these beers warm to room temperature, right? How do you want to do this? You're both warm.
Yeah, mine are both.
It's so un-Portuguese of you.
I just want to know which one we're going for first because I've got a mouth like a pharaoh's sock. So can we get the beer open?
Yeah, Jordan is. I mean, your guest of honor. We're doing this because of you in many ways. Which would you like to try first?
I have to have Sagres in my hand. So how about that?
Let's do it. Okay, so we've all got the Sagres here. Doc's got a bit of a backstory, but let's taste it first. Let's have a first sip, probably of each of them. Let's go.
Blimey, it's like the wine club again, isn't it?
Yeah. No one got whacked in the face.
Being provided with another glass so I can pour my Sagres into it. So I'm not allowed to drink from the bottle, apparently.
Oh, really? It's so common. So
I have an initial comment. I'll wait for everyone else, but the thing that I noticed since the 2 weeks I've tried these beers, I'm curious what other people think, but to me, there's one particular difference. It's very subtle. Shall I say it or wait till other people comment?
No, go ahead, Jordan. Absolutely. Chip in as you wish.
The Superbock seems to have a tiny bit more hop bitterness to me. It's subtle, but it's slightly more.
Yep. Okay, so should we go there then? And I mean, just pipe in. I'm not going to lead this like a wine tasting, guys. Say what you need to say, but I'm enjoying.
I agree with Jordan. Not that I've tried the Sagres yet. I'm just about to, but I prefer the Superbock, and I think it is indeed the extra hoppiness.
You can smell it, can't you? You can smell it immediately. Yeah. If you just
open the pot. It's like a really. It's a bit pongy, actually, isn't it? It's a bit. It's that river water thing again, isn't it?
You know, it's pub carpet. I've got pub carpet from.
Nice memories or bad memories of pub carpet?
A child, my mother and father had a pub, but you know, it's a great smell, isn't it? When you walk into a British boozer, you do get that beery smell, and I'm getting that with Superbock. It's got, you know, it's got character in the way that Sagres hasn't. Let's face it.
I agree. Sagres is a bit flat. I mean, it's a nice, easy drinking beer, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Yeah, that's why here up north we call it the piss water.
There you go. All right.
Go ahead. One more comment. To me, the Sagres is a bit more carbonated. I don't know if that's true or not. It feels like it has more taste to me.
Actually, it's the other way around.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Okay.
I think Sagres is more fizzy compared to that. And I noticed with Superbock, I like Superbock, don't get me wrong, but it can give me indigestion, so it must be slightly more acidic, I would have thought. Whereas this doesn't. It just makes me belch a lot. So swings and roundabouts.
Let's hear it. Come on.
The thing with me and Sagres is that when I drink Sagres, I need to go to the bathroom after I finish this glass.
That's guilt, that is, Joel.
No, I need to.
Is that yeah, but hold on. Is it for a number one or a number two?
It has to exit.
Number one or number two? Uma dois, Joel, when you go to the bathroom there, because of the banyo. What? Okay.
Water or not.
Rate my beer here. Thanks to Jordan for sending this through. A beer that's 100% natural with proper brightness. That's good to know, isn't it? Medium body, dry character, a pleasant bitter taste. It's light and golden color, a distinct taste recognized and appreciated since 1940. There's your Sagres, but only 2 out of 5 on Rate My Beer. And look at this. I think the doc's got something to say about the historical and political origins of the beer, but owned by Heineken now. Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing, isn't it? But that's the truth. And then on the go on. No, carry on.
Well, did you want me to talk about the history or no?
Let me do this one because it's owned by Heineken or Interbrew or whatever. The Sagres, isn't it? And that means it's going to go all over the world, and it's going to be a certain trajectory for that now. But same here with the Superbock. This is Carlsberg Group, and a winner of 28 consecutive gold medals at the prestigious Mont Selection competition. Superbock Original is recognised internationally for its high quality. Despite these credentials, brewers' true conquest of Superbock is the millions of loyal fans around the world who cannot resist its unique taste. And to me, that is the difference between the two. Superbock has a taste. I don't think Sagres really has that much taste. And actually, that's why I quite like it, because it's really refreshing, it's inoffensive, and it's a really good way of cooling down with a nice cold beer in your hand. And if you want something with a little bit more character, you go to Superbock. That would be my initial evaluation. Tell us a bit about the politics. Rate My Beer, is that the same people who host Rate My Poo?
Don't even ever go there. Don't ever go to that site. It does exist. Don't even go there.
You know what everyone's going to do now? But open on a new tab.
Be warned. Be warned.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, dog. Right. The political insight now, obviously from the doc about the beers.
Okay. So the company Unis Bebidas de Portugal produces Superbock. They're slightly older than sorry, Joe. Cidade Central de Bebejas, which produces Sagres. But Salazar heavily protected the regime, the market, or the producers rather. Foreign companies weren't allowed to set up in Portugal, and so from 33 to 74, those two companies had a captive market, and the industry was nationalised after the 1974 revolution. Initially, but of course, the companies themselves remained separate, and Sagres has now been bought up. I'm not sure. I presume the Superbock is still owned by the government or owned by some entity within Portugal.
Heineken. We just saw that. What is a
Superbock was Carlsberg, according to Rate My Beer. That's
right. Heineken for the Sagres, as Carlsberg for the Superbock, for sure. Right. So no longer nationalised. Yeah. So interesting about it, to see how much the government might have made from that, and we can read a bit more into it. Are you looking at the Portugalists' blog about that?
Was it Portugalist? I've looked at a couple of blogs this week about it, so this might have been Portugalist. Yeah, this is Portugalist, but I looked on Wikipedia and I looked on a couple of others as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll come to the Portugalist. He's a good fellow. We've interviewed him on the morning show, and we'll check in with him and what he thinks is better, Superbock or Sagres. So, any more reflections on these two beers? Are you still of the same mind, Bill?
Considering both beers, and I have tasted those for a long time, when they came out with the classics, which was Bohemia, and Abadia when I first tried them, because there were recipes that were from when those factories, these two companies came to be. I rather enjoy them more than I enjoy the regular beers. I prefer the more a little bit expensive, more expensive brand from those two derivatives.
So that's Bohemia, is from
Bohemia
Sagres?
and Abadia.
I should look those up. That would be fun to try.
Yeah, they have they pack a little bit more punch on the alcohol level, but I do prefer them. I don't know why. It's maybe because of the taste. Even Sagres, which is unusual for me, I tend to like them those variants of the beer.
Well, guys.
Jordan, you'll find them in Continent.
Okay, I have not been to a continent yet, and I would love to go, so I'm going to go. But I wanted to say,
ou Auchan, neste caso, on this case, Auchan, Lidl, Three Musketeers, which is a thing here, apparently.
So I know there's craft brew in Portugal, so I know you. They say don't bring a knife to a gunfight, so I brought a gun to a knife fight. This is a strong ale that's been aged in port casks. A very high quality beer that I got at a place called Libier Todd. It's a bottle shop near the Liberty Boulevard.
Oh, excellent.
What's the strength of that? What's
this
the percentage?
This is 9.8% by volume, so I'm going to be on the floor in a second.
9? Did you say 9?
9.8.
9.8 for a beer.
Well, I've just looked at this Sagres. Am I seeing this right, guys? Because my minces aren't too good these days. The strength of this, is it 5%?
Oh, I can't.
So, yeah.
That's actually more alcoholic than I thought it was.
Yeah, me too. Your beer.
And the Superbock?
What for? Superbock?
Sagres.
No.
This white brand.
Yeah, the Bohemia is, but the Sagres, the regular Sagres is 5. I'm gonna open up my camera and then magnify.
5.3.
You got to get some glasses, Carl. It's no good.
The Superbock says 5.2. If I read that correctly.
Yeah, Superbock is 5.2.
Well, you wouldn't have thought that, would you?
Okay.
In the U.S.,
that's
malt liquor.
Yeah, this is one of those occasions when we drink one of these, and here in Portugal, we're almost hitting the minimum percentage of the amount of alcohol per liter. So,
oh wow!
So for driving,
it's a minimum.
You need to one beer, and even depending on weight and height, one beer usually gets to 0.02.
This is fantastic, by the way.
Which is the allowed for driving when drinking. Higher than that.
So let me just. You made it sound like you've got to have drunk at least a 5.0 to get on the road. That's not what Joe means.
Not exactly. I was a little bit higher than that, and I managed to not get in a traffic stop or in being stopped by the police officers. Back then, this is when I was still in my early 20s, 22 maybe, and I had come back from Lisbon after participating back then in the biggest human advertisement for the Euro 2000 for the Portuguese European Championship. I think it was 2000. I am
So it's
part
still
of
the
the World Guinness record.
Very good. Very good. Do excuse me. Okay, so let's have a look at what the Portugalist is saying about this. I don't know. We might have made our mind up already here, but which is better according to the Portugalist. Worth trying both. Oh, go away. Worth trying both when you come to Portugal, and Coral and Especial if you visit the island. So there you go. You're absolutely spot on there, but we don't know which is which. You probably won't be able to try Superbock and Sagres at the same bar. That's an interesting point. It's a bit like Coke or Pepsi situation. Bars tend to stock one or the other. Yes, very interesting. So that's where the turf war is, isn't it? It's also worth trying the other styles of beer, such as Stout and Radler, and of course the Bohemia, which Joel's got to know. Superbock is available in Abadia, in Green, Stout, Selection. No, what was that? Milneuve.
And black no alcohol.
Yeah, what's the point of that? If you're visiting Lisbon, you can also try several unique Superbock brews at the Superbock Experience. There you go. In the Timeout Market, including Bengal Amber IPA. That's one for Eric J, isn't it? Czech Golden Lager, Munich Dunkel, and Bavaria Weiss. You may also be able to taste one of their new small batch beers, like their Christmas brew. Cascada Blonde Lager, British Colonial Stout. Really? Scottish. It's not ain't half hot, mum. Scottish smoked lager. That's weird. Imperial Stout and Rice Lager. Maybe for the Chinese export market. I don't know.
Rice Lager is Budweiser from America. It's mostly rice. So.
Is it really? Very interesting. Okay. Sagres. Other styles of Sagres are the Bruna, the Preta, and the Bohemia and the Radler. In Lisbon, you can try all of Sagres' range at the Cervejaria Trinidad, formerly a 13th century convent, of course, that brewed its own beer. This is now, I bet their beer brought all the monks to the yard. This is now in a restaurant, beer hall that's owned by Sagres. In the UK, Sagres is available on Amazon.co.uk and Beers of Europe. Also stocks Sagres, Bohemia, Preta, and Radler. You can also find Sagres in Australia, Ireland, and Germany, but it's difficult to find in the US. Even though they are similar, most people who try both come away with a preference for one.
The easiest way to find Portuguese beer is in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, which is one of the ports there is in the east coast of America, where many of Madeirenses and Açorianos live. There is like a Portugal town there.
Okay. So follow the Portuguese communities there. Yeah. Even though they are similar, most people who try both come away with a preference for one or the other. Portuguese will have a passionate preference, just like Joel here, although this might be influenced by other marketing factors besides taste. I'm sure that is true. Sagres is made near Lisbon. You'll see it as you're driving north on the A1 on your right-hand side as you're heading out of town. For example, while Superbock is made in the north, north of the Mondego River, Coimbra there. You drink Superbock, south of it, you drink Sagres. Then there's the fact that each sponsors different. There we go. Sagres sponsors Benfica, Braga, Olhanense, and Academia Coimbra, and the Portuguese football team. Oh, the Portuguese squad, the national squad. Superbock sponsors Sporting, CP, FC Porto, and Club de Futebol Os Belenenses. Most people are likely to go with the brand that sponsors their team. Another big pull for Superbock is the fact that the controlling share of Unicer Bebidas de Portugal, the owner that makes Superbock, is Portuguese owned. In an industry, I think that might have changed now, right? In an industry where most European breweries are owned by international companies, that makes a big difference, but not anymore, I don't think. So thank you, Portugalist, for that. So what is our verdict? Go on, Doc.
So a couple of other things. Superbock also sponsor my local team, that's UD Liria. And in fact, the question about the Especial is the Azores.
Oh, thank you for sorting that out, Doc. That's great. Okay.
On the subject of Benfica and Sporting, I need to pick a team. Somebody help me.
Well, when you settle down, then decide your team, because you should always support a local team.
Jordan, I'll give you a tip, right? Have a look around where you're living, right? And look at the gate posts. If there's eagles, or there's lions, because that's who. If it's an eagle, it's Benfica. If it's lion, it's
so don't buck the local trend, but go with whoever my area is supporting.
Well, I would if I was you, as an outsider, just to keep the locals happy.
I expect Town has got its own local team, and you'll have a lot of fun. If you do live there, you'll have. I mean, I've got a little team, Anadia, here where I live. The stadium is amazing, and the culture around it. I think over 100 years of having a team here, and they're very proud. And the whole kind of Portuguese association club thing is really strong in the community. So it's like Gary says, it's well worth supporting your local club, and they will influence you about which big club to support, I suspect. And there'll be coach trips from your local club to go to some of the bigger matches, maybe. As a town, I'm sure we'll have its own local team that you can follow there. Go on, Doc.
I mean, Leiria is a small town, but we've just smashed it in the league for promotion to the second division. And we've got one of the stadiums that was built for Euro 2004. It's a fantastic stadium. I was in there today to get my vaccination, actually. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that.
Can we just talk about the poor cousin for a couple of seconds? Because I've just found something out. Crystal,
girls beer.
It's made by Superbock.
Oh, no.
Really? Yes, it is. It's made by Superbock.
Okay.
How would you compare it to Superbock?
Well, I think I'm going to have a go in a minute. So I've got Superbock over there. And actually, I think I'm trying to use my magnifying glasses to see in this half light. It's about 5.1%, so there can't be a lot of difference. Superbock.
I think it's like Superbock Sagres. It's their own less tasty beer. That I think the older people are there's still a following for it, and that's why they keep making it. I think the loyal.
I've got a bit of a drink problem. I've only got one mouth.
Let's see how you cope. Diffie Dog is saying, lads, time to smash a few Australian beers. Little creatures.
Oh, Victoria Bitter.
Say that again, Jordan.
Victoria Bitter is what when I was in Australia, that's what they drank.
Did you enjoy that?
It was good. I thought it was a good beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul at the Circus School. Hello, Man Cavers. I think I've annoyed Mrs. Circus School tonight. I think he does it on purpose. And she's gone to bed early. More wine for me. And if you are watching under the covers, Mrs. Circus School, good evening to you, and we will look after your husband. The more hot bitterness, the better, says Eric. So he is probably a Superbock man when he comes here. Bearders22 just bought a pack of 6 Superbock from the UK. So yeah, all of you, anyone who's trying this at home, let us know what you think. So that's expensive, isn't it, compared to what you'd get that for in Portugal? $7.50 on the plus side. I bought a bottle of Licor Beirão. My first taste of one for almost 14 months. Fantastic. Damn COVID, says Bearders22. Sandy's here. Hello, Sandy. Lovely always to have your company.
Hi, Sandy.
Do they have born on dates? As in what, the batch date or the establishment of the brewery? I wonder. I'm sure there's a batch.
Freshness.
The Superbock, at least I have a glass that says it is commemorating 75 years of existence.
Okay.
Well, Crystal is 1890.
My Superbock has 12/20/21 on it. I imagine that's when it's good till.
Yeah. Does it taste like it's from 1890?
Actually, do you know what? I'm going to sum it up. Taste, yeah. Superbock, yeah. Refreshment, Crystal. So you're right. It's like their Sagres. That's far more refreshing than that.
Superbock is since 1927.
See the youngsters, 1890. Come on, now. There's no contest, is there?
Lightweights.
They taught Superbock everything they know, obviously.
Yeah, and then got bought up. I use Untapped as my beer rating app. Both of those beers rate at just under 3 out of 5. You see, I think it's a bit unfair that they are being rated in that environment. It's a bit like rating Carlsberg or Heineken, the pump beers, isn't it? They should have their own competition. These aren't craft beers. They're being unfairly judged, I think, in that environment.
I think you're right about that, Carl. And it's like, people want these super strong beers like this one, and it's a different category. You drink them for different reasons, right? This
Absolutely.
is a refreshment. It's easy drinking.
Yeah, I mean, this little fella, the Sagres Mini, is you can buy this nearly anywhere. Petrol stations until recently, grocery store, restaurants, and people drink this to refresh themselves.
That is the preferable breakfast.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well said, Joel. Portuguese breakfast, but again, don't look that up. Tesco in the UK.
Yeah,
of course, that's what I'm about to do.
Depending on the
Don't do it.
work category.
Portuguese. I mean, we've never asked Joel this, but why is a Portuguese breakfast?
I just looked it up.
Jordan's just found it. He clicked on images.
I had a coworker that he started mornings with beer. His morning break with beer, his lunch with beer, his afternoon break with beer, after the work with beer, dinner with beer, and before bedtime with beer. So he was never drunk.
Yes.
He was never drunk, and he was never high. So he was constantly. So if we say that if we took a blood test on him, it would accuse a drop of blood for every liter of alcohol on his system.
Was this when you worked in brain surgery, or what
No, this is when I worked doing office supplies.
Oh, well, okay. And the boozy guy you used to work with, I'm sure all the punters must have remembered him for that aroma.
Funny enough, he used to say, I was going home and I saw a cafe. I want to stop to take a beer. The motorcycle didn't stop, so I threw myself to the ground.
Well, Joe, you sent me this. What's happening here?
Well,
the
classic or original beer, I Am Your Father, with the regular beer, the Sun.
I'm sorry you had to explain that to me. Honestly. Okay.
I didn't need to explain. You just look at the label. You see a fancy label. It is the older one. The newer label is the younger one.
Yep, and a good sense of humour in the Superbock marketing team. Tesco in the UK do the
one, but I can't find it.
Okay, the Tesco's do a 660ml Superbock for £2 a bottle, which isn't bad value over here. That's not too bad.
How much?
Well,
it's about how much is it over here for a black size one? It's probably about what, 150, if that.
This is a euro, isn't it?
That is, but he's on about the big one. Doc, didn't you have a big one there?
There back in the 80s, 90s.
That's the
90s. There were beer bottles of 1.5 liters.
Oh my God!
They were sold 1.5 liters of beer bottles.
The kids carry them home.
Sagres and both Sagres and Superbock.
That'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be an expensive trip to the bathroom.
But you can't keep that cool. That's the reason for these, isn't it? Is that this stays cold and cool, but it's deep to the bottom. If you're drinking a litre of beer from a bottle, it's warm within 5 minutes in the summer, isn't it? Well done, Jordan. We need to lead the craft beer revolution in Portugal. Come on, it's already started, you colonials coming over here. All that.
I didn't leave the shop with just one beer, of course.
He hasn't even bought a house yet, and he's taking over the beer.
Calm down. What is it Charles says? Stay in lane and calm down. But I mean, you will enjoy it, Eric, for sure. Stop all this. My beer is stronger than yours, bollocks. It should be decided by taste.
They've already decided on the taste. We're now talking about the strength.
Yeah. It's time on to move to the manly portion.
I don't know what's happening now. Paul is saying what? Paul is saying, oh yeah, arguing on strength rather than taste. Okay, all right, yeah, that's a fair point, Paul. There's nothing big or clever, is there, about high alcohol content on its own. Superbock bought in the UK is 5%, so the export version is different. 5.2 beer does 22 in here in Portugal. What is the price of a 6-pack of each? I think I bought 18 for about.
Yeah, we buy 24. So
yeah,
for €8. €8, I think.
Seven.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
You'll get a deal. They're very, very, very cheap little thirst quenchers, Charles. And it varies, you'll get a deal here and a deal there. Paul Circus School, I'm now drinking a grapefruit IPA. Brewdog make one of those, don't they? I like that citrus IPA. Picked up by accident. It's like drinking a slap in the face. Well, I quite like the sharpness of those. Superbock is never the answer. It is the question. And yes is the answer, says Terence. We've not swayed him tonight, have we? Did someone say IPA? Always here. Carl, beer is always a great conversation. Can I join? Yes, of course you can. Sorry, I didn't realize. Eric J, for the first time, I think, joining us on screen. So, of course, you
Eric,
can.
come on in, please, Eric. I'd love to see you.
The water's fine.
It's in the comments now. A Superbock and Sporting. I like it even more now, says Terry.
It's out.
I don't appreciate
look.
football.
Benfica.
Have you got?
At least you've got rid of the blue scarf.
And have you got eagles outside your house, Gary?
No, I'm not that fanatical yet.
Two of them meet.
Don't
Yeah,
be because that sport doesn't deserve.
All right.
It's the beautiful game. It's the most important sport in the world. What are you talking about? I'm American saying that.
Oh no. Let's not do that right now. Yes, Carvo. Although seriously, children, you'll thank me. Yes, Carvo. Although I do prefer crystal in bottles. Had some bottles of crystal. Really enjoyed it. Paul's a fan. DJ saying, "Hola, just stopping by to encourage your man cavers to smash the likes. Come on, help the lads at Expats Portugal beat the algorithms." Cheers, DJ. I love it when people help us with that. We've only got one pathetic thumbs up from Karen Holly, from a woman as well in the man cave with a single thumbs up there. Come on. Hi, guys, from Sandy Green as well. A second greeting of the evening. Batch date. Okay, yeah, batch dates are on there for sure, Karen. I think Lidl in the UK stocks either Superbock or Sagres, maybe both, as your danger. Beard is 22. An ice cold beer in the sun at a cafe on the marina in Lagos has an amazing effect on the taste. It's like Greek Retsina. It never travels.
Cafe in the marina in Lagos, it doesn't really matter what you're drinking, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it certainly adds, doesn't it? And that's absolutely right, because if anyone's who's ever taken a bottle of Retsina home and tried to drink it in the cold in the UK has probably regretted it. What? Oh, is that no good? What is that?
It's one of those.
Should we boo a Tigbar for doing that? Boo!
Don't follow it.
Away with you.
When I see you, then
you are blocked, sir. You are blocked.
Actually,
I strangely enjoyed that. I childishly enjoyed that somehow.
No, carry on. As an aside, I've brought home a few packs of Aldi-owned beer, Karlsquell, which I love these German-sounding beers. Karlsquell. You will enjoy this beer, which is in the Salem Brewery off the A13 motorway, and everyone thinks it's a great, refreshing brew. Pseudo-German.
I had some of that the other week. I wasn't a fan. Well, I'm not a fan. I wasn't convinced.
I'd like to introduce you to my new best friend, because this is the one for me at the moment.
It's the green. He's on the Green Argus.
The Green Argus, right? It's like. Hang on, can you see? Where are we? 6.8%.
Yeah,
Terence sucks.
But that's nice. That is a nice drink.
We're going to answer.
That is a nice drink.
Let's answer this. Actually,
Carl just froze for me.
He's gone. That's it. He's finished. The alcohol's got to him.
The mice can play.
He's been cut
He's
off.
halfway through a snarl. Look at.
oh, there we go. Eric J, good evening to you.
Eric!
You crashed the show, then.
Show us what you're drinking.
Oh, what we got here? That's something to do with the brain. That's a brain on there.
What is that? Oh, it's
Basement of my brain. Now that looks an interesting drink.
Cheers.
Salud.
Yeah.
You guys,
you, Eric. Join in the conversation. We're great. How was that journey of yours from North Carolina to New York, Eric?
it was quite a long travel going up. It was only supposed to take me about 10 and a half hours. It ended up being over 13 and a half. So the first 600 miles of my trip was perfect. The last 80 miles of my trip probably took me 4 hours.
No, no.
Oh, wow. Going into New York. That's just an amazing thing to consider. You would not be doing that in Portugal, I don't think, unless you're going away for 2 weeks or something like that. It's just amazing.
How many
Amazing.
hours? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
10 hours drive.
10 hours drive. That is basically the entire Portuguese country.
Mm.
You can do that in
I
California.
want to thank Jordan for bringing craft beer onto the screen tonight.
You're welcome. I got a few others I want to try. It's not base of my brand, but.
And truth be told, believe it or not, this is my first Zoom call ever.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Welcome
That's not
for
possible.
All it takes is a little beer, and we're good to go.
Oh,
Excellent.
we're so honoured. So, just a very quick poll here: Superbock or Sagres? Well,
I'll tell you in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
I can tell you now, Sagres.
It makes you glad, isn't it, that we're all alone in our own rooms.
My wife is sitting next door. She doesn't want to know.
Yes. Yeah, and when you're like, I've definitely been doing man caves, and Mrs. Emma's walked in and gone, oh, like that. And I guess that's the possible.
I will not comment on my farts because they can kill the entire platoon.
It's quite a both.
Oh, what's that line from Austin Powers? You always prefer your own brand, right? So
exactly. Yeah. It's like kids. Yeah, your own kids. Your own friend.
Now I have to call it my small dog. It seems to like it because every time I go to the toilet, the guy comes after me and sits in front of me, wanting me to pet him. Which is unusual because when I fart, usually the scent travels pretty far, and
thank God your
flowers tend to die.
That wasn't really that wasn't an earthquake in Lisbon the other day. It was you.
Maybe I will not. I retract myself from commenting if that was my responsibility or not. One thing is for sure: the earthquake in 1755. It wasn't me. It wasn't alive back then.
I think it was. Your fart time traveled and caused the earthquake.
That's how deadly it was. Yeah,
it's that powerful. In case you're wondering what you're watching, this is the Man Cave, obviously. Tonight, living in Oregon, USA, craft beer is king. Says Steve.
I can confirm that Oregon has great craft beer.
Oregon is an amazing place, isn't it? It really is. Makes you wonder why the Americans want to come over to Portugal, but again, that's probably not a place to go right now.
We're going to bring you craft beer.
How many days do you have to talk about it?
Exactly, and we don't want to get. Let's not get Joel started on that. Drink American version of Triple this evening.
There are things. I have to.
Triple.
There are things
I love Belgian beers.
There are things I like in American culture. There is.
Yay! There you go.
There is some things. There are some things I
Did I hear that right? Hang on.
American culture, but
loose connection here somewhere.
We want to say it again.
No.
a couple of beers, and anybody's now, and he's like, "Oh, I love everybody, I do."
Hey guys, I might have missed this earlier, but what's the ABV of what you guys are drinking now?
5.2.
What was the Sagres? I forget.
5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, a straight 5, and Superbock 5.2, Eric.
Which for commercial beers is fairly high. You know, I think like Budweiser is 4.2 or something.
Yeah,
that's right. Sandy asked a good question. Where's our Frank? It's this time of the evening where one of your buddies is not here, and you hope that they have a good reason, right? And I don't think he's got a good reason. He made some lame excuse about a party he had to go to with the people in the downstairs flat. It's like, that's not Man Cave, is it? If he's not going to be here, it's because he's on a promise with his missus. That is okay. That's Man Cave code.
You need a doctor's note, I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not giving him a doctor's note. So.
That just shows where we all stand.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
not very Spartan, is it? Let's be honest. It's not part of the Spartan crew.
No, that's right. We should push him down the well for that.
I think he's probably got his special shirt on, which is unbuttoned down to there, and his little shark tooth necklace.
You want to do scuba? You want to do scuba? Come on, you scuba.
Scuba, yeah.
What's this?
What's this, Eric? This is colourful.
What's that? What's going on here?
Neon style IPA. I've had I lived in Panama for 8 years, and there was a brewer there who made a New England style IPA that I liked a lot.
This beer comes out of a brewery in Upper New York State.
Okay. Oh, you picked some up while you were there?
No, I bought it locally, but
okay. All right. Jordan, you should be writing a book about the beers I've had around the world. I think what we're gathering.
Some of the beers I've had, all around the world,
yeah.
I've actually brewed beer before.
Have you? I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm gonna read
it as well.
Well, you saw Mark, didn't you? Mark on the show last week. Mark
yes.
Gardner. Yeah, we were at his brewery. Actually, I might put the picture up.
Go on. Let's do that. Go on. I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet, so
that's going to take a little while.
You work on that, right? And if what a great day that was, wasn't it, Carl? Was it so excellent?
Yes,
the craft beers, literally just up the road from me, probably about 20-30 minutes. And Mark produces some wonderful craft beers, a great range of beers. Really, really good beers, aren't they, Carl?
Well,
I'll meet you guys there anytime.
We have 10 minutes away from the brewery. So
when I was living in New York, I owned my own house, so I had a whole beer brewing setup right there. Once I moved to Charlotte, I had to give that up because now I live in an apartment. So,
well, you could still have a go, I suppose, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, but once propane and fire's involved, the apartment doesn't really go for that too well.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Health and safety. Yeah.
Your first boil over doesn't go over too well with your neighbors below.
No.
Well,
just ask them up for a drink.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Or Duke of Hazard. Just moonshine on the back seat of a Dodge Charger and off you go.
Of course, guys, I've just suddenly thought about something. Right, we haven't really discussed what these are like in draft. We've only had bottles and cans because a beer can be very different, can't it?
It's much better when it's draft and fresh, right? Of course.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I don't think Sagres is as gassy when it comes on draft. Out of a bottle, it is very gassy. I don't think Superbock really changes that much, but Sagres is a better
Superbock is very foamy when you pour it. It's very foamy. So independently, if it is cold or warm, it is basically the same. The punch.
Those two companies are the biggest brewers in the country, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have Budweiser, Coors, and Miller.
We have one of those here too, but they are not as popular.
These two brewers were the only brewers allowed until '74 in the Carnation Revolution. So,
for example, brands like this doesn't have anything to do with Coca-Cola, with Superbock, with beer. But for example, Coca-Cola, 7-Up, Fanta is all made. Usually, they are both shared by Superbock and Sagres, if I'm not mistaken. So those refreshments are made locally under license.
Yep, and they could lose in translation. Here we go with the Pauser beers. This is what I'm going to move on to. That's his range of. Looks like more than 9 to me, but he's got 9 on the go at the moment, or for sale at the moment. That's what Joel sent me. That's a traditional Portuguese greeting. So, if you're American, if you're American, you should do this to a policeman to show that you.
Hey, copper.
Yeah, and you just like, I mean no harm. I'm glad to be here. Great to make your acquaintance. That's
Put this where the sun don't shine.
Well, that's universal language there.
There's some happy lads.
That's us in the brewery, and we tried to get him in front of that so it looked like his hat. But that's what he brews with, isn't it? It's not a massive array, but it does the trick for sure. So that's at his place last Sunday, and here is me and Mark on the Potter's Wheel. We're reenacting scene from Ghost.
the scene from Ghost. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that is a picture I didn't want to see.
I want to know, Carl. I want to know, Carl, why you're standing like you shit yourself.
Because Gary,
he did.
Yes, because I just shit myself, but I didn't. I didn't. Like
I know what it was. You just didn't want intimate contact, did you? We were just trying to stay, socially distanced.
Yeah.
Yes, but not really managing that very well. But we had a lovely time at that brewery.
It was good fun, wasn't it? It was
a beautiful place to stay as well. If you guys are touring, if you come over, his accommodation is really out of this world special for sure.
What's located, Carl?
That's in a place called I can't remember the village, but you're looking at 20 minutes from Coimbra, I think. You're near Coimbra, not far from Tomar, Alvagra, proper heart of central Portugal stuff there.
I'll be there.
Great place.
Did we ask
Paul Williams is a sporting fan?
Who is?
I see this comment here. Paul Williams, farters are mostly Benfica.
Yeah, you're right, Jordan. You're right. And Paul is being quite opinionated this evening, but I think that's because he's grumpy and he's in lockdown or in quarantine at the moment.
Just probably had too many beers and he's getting a bit arsey.
Just bought Superbock from Lidl tonight, says Dave Hutchinson. As close as I'm going to get to Portugal for a while. I'm sorry to hear that. Tigba Chiamaka was trying to post again, but I blocked you. So,
yay!
Right up there.
Yeah, they've started to advertise flights from San Francisco to Lisbon.
Wow,
$100.
That's good. Wow.
My goodness.
So there you go.
Monday it's open again.
Yeah, Eric J. Nice to put a face to the name. Charles and Eric. Yes, absolutely. You guys are on a similar page politically, aren't you?
Yes, we are. We have to meet for a beer sometime in between North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yep, I do send pics when that happens. Eric, Eric, be gentle with him, boys. We are, aren't we? So far.
He needs to turn himself into a cat like that lawyer, right? Everyone's seen that.
Yes. got a vaccine. Can I come, please? I mean, some people get excited about the vaccine, but not that excited, if that's what you mean, Stephen Green.
Honestly,
it's a big day. It's a big day, but I mean, is it that big? So how many brewers are there in the Expats Portugal group? I don't know. Go on.
I haven't brewed in 20 years, but I would do it again if I could find the equipment. So I don't know if they have brewing supplies in. I assume they do somewhere.
Absolutely.
Wine. I know my grandfather did wine.
They have stills in the market.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm a huge whiskey drinker as well. I don't know if anybody else is, but I would love to distill.
Yeah, I love my whiskey. But they have these huge copper stills and all sorts. Yeah, I'm sure you can find brewing equipment easily.
Yeah,
it's alive and well. It's alive and well in the countryside for sure. Aguardent making, a lot of old boys doing that, and you'll buy a property. If you looked at a lot of property pictures online and you've seen in the cellar, underneath all those black bin liners, there is probably an Aguardent distillery in there somewhere, and you'll inherit that with a house more than likely.
Excellent.
All kinds of stuff.
Recently, the presses that I had in one of my sheds, I sold. My father sold it because we didn't use it. We didn't have any vineyards anymore, so we sold it to a back neighbor of ours for him to use for his vineyards.
All the kit is here. Alyssa Palmore is here. Good evening, all. Alyssa.
Good evening, Alyssa from
Right.
From Setúbal, living in Birmingham. And guess who was her PE teacher at school? Jose Mourinho.
No. The special one. I am the special one.
Yes, and he wasn't very special. He was a bit of an arse.
I mean, he was a miserable git.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Portuguese teacher. I say so myself.
Yeah.
He just got fired from Tottenham for being an ass, right? So
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it's the same as in the UK. If Jose was in the showers watching everybody getting showered afterwards, maybe it's not the same here in Portugal. although Joel, you might be able to answer this. We were offered a soaping at the swimming pool. There was a soaping person who was a woman who was soaping children at the end of the swimming session, which I thought. It's not. It didn't seem in any way illegal. It did seem appropriate for me to ask for it, but it seemed completely natural. I mean, you know, Joel doesn't know anything about that. Okay, well, yeah, soaping. Has anyone tried?
If there is, I missed the train because I'm a full grown-up man now, and probably I will scare to death that woman.
I would say so. I would say so. With if you don't have a trim or some, because we've been on this territory before. I imagine you could frighten the soaping lady. Paul, but has anyone tried something I see occasionally here? Of a dropping of a small bottle of Martini Rosso into
a car bomb? Don't they call those car bomb? Irish car bomb.
Yeah,
Portuguese usually do the martini on the side with a coffee, not with beer.
That's ruining a good beer.
Yeah, and a good whiskey.
That's what you do when you're 20, trying to get pissed quickly.
There you go.
Where's Paul seen it in the Algarve? Possibly, where you would imagine it might happen after a full English breakfast. Mrs. Circus School says drinking beer is making me fat. We need her on here. She is wrong. Beer doesn't make me fat. It makes me lean. As in,
I don't know. Doc can confirm, but I think there were studies made by scientists and doctors that says that beer helps to kill the fat in you. So maybe Doc can say something about that better than I.
I'm not sure about that. I think those studies may well have been funded by
the beer industry.
but personally, I've seen lots of fat beer drinkers, myself included. I've seen many skinny whiskey drinkers, and I think the answer is that beer and cider make you fat, and whiskey doesn't do that.
I recall in the 50s, the cigarette makers had ads saying cigarettes are healthy, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they put a nail in the coffin every single day for every cigarette you pick up. So
I save all my carbs for beer.
Yes.
Yeah. Why not?
Keto
I want to know, right? And maybe you guys can sort of chew this over in your own mind. Is that you can be drinking, right? And most of the night, whatever, you can't eat and drink at the same time because it just like. But when you finish drinking, right, all of a sudden there's part of your brain that gets triggered that you must have a kebab or a curry or something.
Correct.
Now, why does that happen? As soon as you start drinking, it's like pow.
Gary, it depends on the drink. For example, if it is beer, I need my brain tells me I need to go to the toilet.
Well, it does that most nights, but when you've been drinking beer quite liberally, shall we say, when you stop, you got to have some Francesina would do just as well.
Drinking M&B,
my brain is telling me you need to go to the toilet now. You need to
so my new favorite sandwich, the Bifana, that seems to go very good with beer.
Yeah. That's a Sagres. That's a Sagres one. I think Bifana Sagres refreshment.
That's the combo, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I reckon. Lunchtime, maybe.
Yeah, I have a sin to confess. I did this. Was it last week when I said I had the Bifana at McDonald's?
I want to. How was it? I want to know. How was it?
Last week.
Terrible, really awful.
I just think it's hilarious that McDonald's even has it. So,
well, in Portugal,
a good combination.
Yeah, McDonald's in Portugal is amazing. You can get Sagres. You know, if you're ordering on you know, it's a bit easier when you're an immigrant coming in to order on reader.
Oddly enough, eating at McDonald's in Europe is a lot healthier than eating McDonald's in America. Sorry.
Really?
Smaller portions probably as well.
Oh, okay.
But you can buy beer. I was astounded.
Not because of the smaller portion. Sorry, Carl. Not because of the smaller portion, but also the preservatives. The amount of preservatives in Europe are far less than in the United States.
The regulations are different here. I see.
That's right.
This
is what Brett's worried about with Brexit. I first found alcohol in McDonald's in France when we were on a drive-through, and we bought drive-through McDonald's just because the kids were starving. And, I was vegetarian back then.
Well, you must have the McDonald's.
They were selling red wine, so I had a red wine.
You cannot have your Big Mac without the wine. Yes, sir.
You English.
Was he in Germany then? Was he, Jordan? Was he in Germany at that time? Then was he?
Yeah, I think my accent. I'm an American. It's just a general European accent. It's all the same to us.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. I'm taking a piss.
That's all right. There's only one American accent, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the guy who's in New York.
Spanish ones.
All right.
I'm from New York. Wait a second.
Yeah, easy now. A few more comments. I have brewed, but now I'm a winemaker. I imagine that is the progression, isn't it? And you'll probably go on to be doing a few sort of spirits as well after that. That seems like a sensible progression from beer to wine to spirits.
That has religious tones to it. When you read, go back to that comment.
What, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost?
I have brewed, and now I'm a winemaker. It sounds like some sort of epiphany or something, doesn't it?
Or it's straight out of Psalms.
Yeah, I have brewed, but now I'm a winemaker.
I think it is the famous sermon from the off license, isn't it?
There you go.
Pull for Michael Jackson or Catholic priest, you choose.
Easy. Just want to move to Portugal, says Stephen in a slightly sad way.
Hey, you're more than welcome here. We still have plenty of room. Come, my friend.
Yeah, just give Joel name at immigration. Joel said it will be fine. But Benoit from Antonio F. Hello, mate. Lovely to have you. Benoit to Antonio F. Thank you all. We were very impressed with your PE teacher and you, Alyssa. And the fact that there are wild boar that run down from the mountains into the sea and swim into Setúbal, and there are dolphins there. Amazing part of Portugal.
Yeah, the dolphins are still in Tejo. You can still find dolphins swimming inside into the Rio Tejo.
Wild boar on the beach. Wild boar. I've been running down the beach with a couple of slices of bread.
Oh,
come on, you bugger!
Even my father. My father was a recreational fisherman, and he even when with his friends when he's go on the boat, even outside on the coast here in northern part of Portugal, you can find whales, cachalotes, as we call them.
How beautiful!
Yeah.
And what I'm surprised about is why there are still dolphins in Portugal, given that the Portuguese eat all sea life.
Slap.
Oh yeah,
because we don't have the same tendency as the Chinese or the Japanese in cutting the fins out of the fish, just for those aphrodisiac properties.
You got Sagres for that, haven't you? Yeah, fair play.
Now the Japanese have dumped a load of radioactive water in the sea. They'll probably all have 20 fins.
Loads to go around.
That's a result. Okay, Terence, what part of Birmingham is Alyssa living in? That's a good question. Kebab.
Try and find her on Facebook. You'll find out where she's living.
Stalker. Kebab is essentially Polish, so I'm sold. Yeah, I guess if you just eat, I guess it's a bit like the Cornish pasty, isn't it? You're not meant to eat all the pastry. You're probably not meant to eat all the doner, are you? Just eat the meat and chuck the.
Pastry was just a version of Tupperware, an early version of Tupperware.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And you give it as the sprigand. You give the last bit to the gods, don't you? And I'm sure you could do the same with a kebab.
I remember there was a place in Covent Garden where I would get Cornish pasties and Cornish hand-pulled ales. I love that place.
Oh yeah,
Oggy pasties shop, maybe. Okay, so what I was about to say completely just slipped my mind, and I don't know if it's a Sagres or the Superbock that's done that. Love beer, not working overtime tomorrow. Fully enjoying the company. You're most welcome. This is the Man Cave.
So
Everyone is welcome.
What does Elisa drink? What's Elisa's choice? Being a lady, which would be an interesting angle.
Definitely.
M&B probably. Brew 11.
What's that?
Well, if you're not a Brummie, you wouldn't know.
Brew 11.
Well, let's extend that. So we need to find out which bit of Birmingham. Don't need the address, but which bit of Birmingham, and what cultural discoveries have you made in Birmingham that you treasure? Please, Alyssa, if you could share that with us on the screen.
She don't know. She can't understand them.
Before the rock,
she can understand, but she probably can understand better.
I bet she can.
Portuguese is a very tricky language.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's harder than Brummie. Bifana Rocks, which sounds like a band, doesn't it? Marcus Berglund, loving the Bifana. Oh, Bifana with red wine as well. Glass of the house red.
Yeah.
Again,
with that.
It's a kind of mini.
Rock sounds like constipation to me.
Yeah.
On rocks.
You need to see a doctor about that. Sorry, doctor.
Have you heard that? So how can I help you today? I think I've got Bifana Rocks.
Got a touch of Bifana Rocks.
What's the prescription for that?
Plenty of olive oil.
Olive oil. Work it out with a pencil. Okay.
God.
Bifana is definitely paleo. I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
it's wrapped in. It's in bread, though, isn't it? It's wrapped in bread. So kind of. Just leave the bread, eat the meat. In Portugal, McDonald's has soup. Yes, salad, and again Bifana. Absolutely, Antonio, and beer.
Soup.
Yep, there you go. What could be wrong with red wine through a drive-through?
Nothing.
No, you English. The circus school. I don't actually call my wife Mrs. Circus School. Her name is Vicky, and she was. I think you should start that.
Bring her on.
In the morning. Could you pass the mustard, please, Mrs. Circus School? That was great. You can see dolphins in the Sado River. There's a colony there, and in the Azores. Where is the Sado River, Antonio?
Would that be Sardo? Because Sado just sounds depressive, doesn't it?
I said it differently.
Sado River.
The Sado River is where
I just get a vision of lots of people going, well, it's a nice river, isn't it? But it could be better.
Andy, I'm about to get my first. Oh, here we go. Serious question, Doc. I'm about to get my first COVID vaccine on Wednesday.
Yeah, chance. Just look and see what Charlotte I have in my.
What's this? Hold on. Let's mute Eric. He's
I'm gonna have another one. So.
Wrong button. He's definitely not done Zoom before, has he? We can that now. Andy, I'm about to get my first COVID vaccine on Wednesday. Told to wait 30 minutes before release. What does that mean? Before urinating?
No. So after the injection, they insist that you hang around for 30 minutes just to make sure you don't fall over.
Oh, before you release.
I mean, I had the same experience today. It's perfectly normal. We used to tell people to do the same thing after the influenza vaccine in my surgery. So don't be worried about it. I had mine, no problem. I didn't feel it. It's fine.
Andy,
it's just in case you grow a tail or something for an extra arm.
No, it's just to make sure that during that period there is no allergic reaction to
anaphylactic reaction. Yeah,
anaphylactic is such a good word, isn't it? Yeah, Alyssa, let us know how it goes. You can check in with us. Is there a pub in Portugal that offers a large selection of beers on tap? Large being like 10 or more.
No, you have to do a pub crawl to do that.
or go to a craft beer.
Yeah, you recommended one to me, Carl, right? So I need to get that one.
Yeah, Charles. I'm going to put it in. It's in capitals, not because I'm shouting, but that's how they do it with their marketing stuff.
There are.
Sorry, guys, got to go for a Sagres dump.
Yeah.
That's the answer to our question, right?
There is a local brewery, a shop that may serve all of them here in Portugal.
But it is unusual. Yeah, Gary's right. It is unusual to find that. Probably in Porto and Lisboa, you'll find it.
Yeah. In the big cities, you'll find it more easily.
Yeah, Sado River. Because in a cafe, you're just going to have one pump, and it's going to be Sagres or Superbock. That's it. And then you get your Imperial.
I've noticed that Imperial, right? I've noticed that in Lisbon, it's one or the other. If you ask for a beer, they're not going to ask you what type. It's whatever they serve.
But in our local cafe, we have Sagres on tap, but Superbock in bottles.
Yeah,
I would think that would be unusual. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they fight over it. It's a territory thing for sure. So Sado River is in Setúbal. Are there sports bars? That's a great question, Doc. How would you define sports bar?
Well, there are lots of definitions of sports bars, but the pre-midnight one is one that shows football games on television, and most of them show football games on television. So don't worry. And every parish has its own sports club, which always has a bar and always has a television on the wall.
Yeah, every cafe has telly, doesn't it? So it's not like compartmentalized. You go to that place for sport and you go to that place for something else. Every cafe will have the telly on, and if there's an important match on, the football will be on the telly in every bar in town. But Doc's right. If you join the local sporting association, you're going to get cheap beer and the company of men, aren't you, or families watching big games. It's quite incredible.
One of the first things I did was join the Liria football club. I haven't been able to go to a match or even a meeting yet, but.
So if I want to see the Champions League final in a bar, that'll be no problem.
Yeah.
No, not a problem at all. In fact, you'll have difficulty avoiding it.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? For people who don't like football, where they go, or if they don't want a TV on.
They go to bed.
Yep, they go to bed. Presently, no. The department is working on a makeup. Is that about the cultural insights? I think it might be, mightn't it?
To answer Charles, there are no such thing as sports bar. There are only cafes, and the trendy cafe shops. For example, you can find the ones called which is the name of that cafe / bar Americans used to have? That is owned by Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme.
Hooters.
Hard Rock Cafe, Hollywood. I forget.
Hard Rock Cafe. Yeah.
All right. So Alyssa is not aware of any cultural discoveries in Birmingham, and is waiting for the company to organise that.
What beer are you drinking? That's the question.
This one's for Charles. It's from a brewery in South Carolina, Amarardis. I'm sure he knows of it.
Yeah,
I'm liking Eric. He's doing the dances, Eric. I'm loving him.
What's this?
What's this one?
Offiusha. Okay. The beer's going down well tonight in the man cave, isn't it? This is a bit harsh, I think. Best cultural discovery in Birmingham is the way out.
Well, no, that's the A38. That's the A38. Best thing out of Birmingham.
Harsh. But
Birmingham was all right, but I've been there since 1984. It was getting a bit cold, so I decided to move out. But Birmingham was all right.
Charles, look at this, always on point with a little bit of biting satire. Just got my first COVID vaccine, and
well, they implant the microchip, right? That's what they're doing, yeah.
Absolutely. So, just Charles involuntarily wants to use Microsoft Word all the time. Hold on a minute. Was my joke too much? I didn't see. I no, it wasn't too much. I just didn't see it. Maybe it is too much.
Invisible.
Where is it? Portugal. No, you pop it in again. No, I'm not cancelling you. There's no cancel culture here, unless you're just spamming us with Bitcoin bollocks. But
hey, come on, Carl. Now I'm not used to that from you.
I'm not.
Not before. What is it? 11 o'clock? It now? Come on now, bollocks.
No, and I've got nothing against Bitcoin. I'm a big fan. But in Portuguese, was my joke too much? Was that? If you mentioned Alejandro, yes. But anything other than
we're not going back to him again, are we? Get over it. Come on, get over it.
I'm not. I'm so not.
Okay, he was better looking than you. He's probably good with the guitar. Probably a fantastic lover. What's to worry about?
Piss off. Muchachos, estou todos em forma. João Mendonça. Good night. Much.
Muchachos, it's español. Man.
Yeah, but what's going on? What is estão todos em forma?
All in shape.
So everything's all good.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
I want to know what Portuguese, what your joke was. Obviously, it must have been a bit edgy if we thought it might be too much. So let's pop it in again, as the actress said to the bishop. Can you watch the Aussies belt England in the Ashes at a Portuguese? Ooh. No, you can't, can you? You won't see that.
It depends. It depends who their TV provider is, because if it's someone like Vodafone and you've got all 580 channels, you could probably find one that's got the Ashes match on there. The question is, would you get away with switching over to that channel?
Yeah, Benfica are playing Porto, and you ask if you can watch the cricket. Yeah, okay. Don't do that. Indeed, I do, Derek. Cheers to you. So Charles does know that brew that you're enjoying tonight, Eric. Thank you, Andy. So that's reassuring for Alyssa there. That's great. Not gonna lie, but Joel looks like he's in something.
That's not the first time he's been told that on this program.
Now, I normally get that label, Joel. You took that label from me. This place is normally the sex dungeon.
It actually is. But people just their eye goes to Joel's place.
This is just a single man's room.
Yes, the big wooden door that's triple locked.
He is the Mr. Grey. He is the Mr. Grey of Matosinhos up there. João Mendonça. Carl, I meant to say you're all in good shape, geezers. Oh, thanks, João. Anyone else? Charles is quite relaxed tonight. Joel the Mob Imp. Keep your fantasies to yourself, Charles.
I'm getting worried about Joel. I think he's sinking. He's getting lower and lower on the screen. We'll just be down to this soon, won't we? I've sat in a hole.
We're still waiting.
The joke was too much. We don't know what it is. I want to know what this joke is now.
Yeah.
Portuguese. Please repeat your joke. All are welcome here. Okay, so I didn't think we would spend an hour and 20 minutes talking about beer, but there we go. We've done it.
This is the man cave.
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. It's an hour and 40 to go. But there are other things going on in the world, aren't there? Apart from beer, some people.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm trying to avoid those things.
Man of reason, we go to you for a little bit of contrast.
Oh, you want the big numbers thing?
Well, why not? Why not? Absolutely.
Oh God, Jesus! After all that beer, hang on a minute. I've got to put my glasses on for this. I'll do my best, guys. But here we go. Right. Okay. Complete change of tack. Right. We all see big numbers, don't we? Like we talk about millions in finance, or billions of this, or trillions, and we don't read it. Where do we gauge that? I can probably tell what 100 of something is. At a stretch, maybe 1,000. I don't know about you guys, but after that, it gets a bit blurred. But I learned this trick. I learned this trick from with my son, who's autistic, he's Asperger, right? And to tell him things sometimes it doesn't mean anything unless you've got some sort of scale on it or whatever. And this is something I learned with him, so he could understand about things, right? So let's talk about numbers, huge numbers. Now,
big numbers.
We'll start small, right? If we trade numbers in, right, for millimeters. Now I know that's not an American thing, but bear with me, right? Millimeters. If 1 year equals a millimeter, 1 year equals a millimeter, right? Okay, we get a ruler. Now, say I'm lucky enough to live to 75. Okay, so let's try and get them on screen. Where I? Right.
Hold on. Let me.
See?
Okay? Yeah.
You see the ruler? Seven between 7 and 8. There.
Gary. Hold on a minute. Why have you got a ruler in your man cave?
That will become apparent later on. Right? Okay. That's my life.
We know.
What exactly are you?
That's my life, right?
What he's asking.
That's if every year is a millimeter,
No.
As average.
Visual system.
Yeah. All
Shut
right.
up a minute, Joel. This is complex. And I'm pissed, so, right. Say I live to 75. There I am on the scale thing.
Yeah.
Each year in a millimeter. Okay. Let's expand that a bit more. Okay. Let's take some examples. Say for the American guys, U.S. independence. U.S. independence, right? About 245 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
245 years ago. So that's 24.5. There. Okay. On that scale, there, right?
Yeah.
So that's when American independence, 240 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So go to the next one. Fire of London, Brits, which was 1666, which is about 355 years ago. Yeah. Well, we're just about finished on that ruler because we go to about 30.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 1666.
Yes.
Battle of Hastings, right? We've got to go upscale now. Stick with me on this one, guys, because this gets really mind bending.
Oh, Frank's gonna say
Battle of Hastings, about a meter, about 1,000 years. Okay.
Yeah.
That's about that long.
Yeah.
A meter.
Can't get it on the screen. Yeah.
Right. I've got to do some. Right. I can't get on the screen. If you do believe in Jesus, in Jesus, right? 2021 years ago. 2 meters 21. Got to pull out for this one, guys.
Yeah. Look at this.
Right. We're talking about
Robin's going to need a bigger house soon.
Okay.
He's going to knock on the neighbours.
Right. Okay. Now we're going to go up another step. Say Homo sapiens. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that scale, we're talking about what? 20, 30 meters. And remember all those little millimeters in between. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Take it up. The next step, T-Rex. How far do you think that's going to be on that scale?
A couple of 100 meters more.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Try 6.5 kilometers.
No way.
Yep. 6.5 kilometers.
We're liking this.
Okay, let's go a bit more.
After that, you have what? The first.
How far ago?
The first living being on Earth. No, the first living being walking on Earth.
Yeah.
No, I haven't got the thing up. That was just an example. But T-Rex, 6.5 kilometers. All those millimeters, right? In between. How's about the formation of Earth? What do you reckon that would be?
4,600 million years ago. So bloody hell, how long is that?
Well, you'd have to have a tape measure that started in London and ended in Tehran. In Iran, yeah.
In millimeters.
So you start off in London, you keep going with that, yeah, all the way to Tehran, and that's how far on the scale of that would be. How's about the formation of the universe? And we're now talking what was it? About 13.5 billion years ago.
Go around the world a couple of times.
No, not quite. Not quite. That would be from London to Darwin. Now remember, with all those little millimeters, right? London to Darwin, all those little millimeters, all them, right? All the way to Darwin. I'm going to put it in context now, right? How much do you think it will cost to replace Britain's nuclear weapons for the next 30 years?
Two tape measures.
Too bloody much.
Give me a figure. No, we've just been talking about
it's a lot.
13.8. We've talked, just the last figure was 13.8 billion, right? But nuclear weapons, 30 years, the next 30 years, 205 billion. 205 billion. That's half. That's well over halfway to the moon on that scale.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers.
For something we're never going to use.
Well, allegedly, we're never going to use.
Well,
Let's
we
hope.
haven't.
Let's hope.
Going back to it, right? Going back to the scale. That's what I'm worth in life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Compared to that. So anytime you get a big number, right, convert it into a millimeter, and then you get a scale.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos, right, 113 billion pounds is worth. 113 billion. Imagine what on that scale. That's what
you can't imagine, can you? That's the whole point. It's unimaginable.
That's why you've got to see it in like proper terms of how far that is.
And what's that like for him? I mean, it must. He can't compute that. It must drive him mad, literally.
No,
it's just gonna
it's the same thing for him. For him, is the same thing as you. As for me, for example, buying something that costs €1. For him, it's 10 million.
Once you get to that level, it's all about competition. Okay.
Yeah.
He's competing against Elon Musk, right?
Bill
The
Gates,
more money he has, the smaller he dick
Buffett.
That's how I can gauge. That's how I can gauge massive amounts now. I can see it as a distance. You know, it's a kilometer. It's 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers. It's 1,000 kilometers because there's a billion. There's a billion millimeters in a kilometer, isn't there?
That's why you're my man of reason, sir.
Yep, there you go.
I had to learn this because my son. You have to with Asperger's and people with autistic traits. It's not getting them to understand you. You've got to break the code and start to understand them, and that's the only way you're ever going to get anywhere. It works. He would understand that because I've given him a visual reference to it.
Here's another way of looking at it. Grains of rice, apparently, if you look that up, says Stephen. Have you ever been? Has anyone ever said this to you before? Great tip, Garvo.
It's cold weather.
Okay. Love to be able to work out.
Try to find its thumbs.
Love to be able to work out the distance in 1 light year. Have you done that one, Gary? Have you made that?
Well, to be honest, I'm crap at maths, and English is even worse. But I've sat down, I've cross-referenced and checked on Google, and my figures are right.
I think that the nearest solar system to ours is something about 60 to 73 light years. So it would take for the current technology for us to travel that distance about 2 generations of persons to fully travel the distance, and we still don't have the necessary means to do it.
Make the most of that, guys. Make the most of that in your life, because in the grand scheme of things, it's piss all. So get on with it.
Make the most of your 75 millimeters, everybody.
Exactly.
Fantastic demo from Todd. I don't like talking about war. I dated a British SAS serving in Afghanistan. I couldn't cope.
Ooh.
Imagine. That'll be tricky. A light year is a unit of distance, isn't it?
Yes.
I think we're into something here. Just going back a little bit though. Apart from beer, there are other things to talk about, such as wine or aguardente.
Whiskey.
Aguardente.
Sorry,
Joel, but it reminds me of a red light area in Amsterdam.
Been there?
I've been there. It doesn't look like anything.
I'd want my money back if I
The
got
cheap end of the street.
Yeah, no offense, Joel, but I mean, if I'd gone to Amsterdam and you're in a window there, I'm thinking,
Joel, put the funky lights on, man. Put the disco lights on.
even if you've got fishnets on, I'm still not. It's not doing it.
Here, this is how it looks like Amsterdam.
Go on, he's doing it. Red.
Oh yeah,
go.
baby, it's going to be hard.
Now it looks like Amsterdam.
Now it's Amsterdam, yeah.
Say it's not like a dungeon. Unbelievable. A bit of cultural immersion here. Damn metric system, says Charles.
Anyway, hold on a minute.
The
Garbo,
American
you blamed that on the Americans, but it's not the Americans, it was the French.
What's that?
What was?
When you were talking about the metric system,
Garlic.
I'm sure you blamed it on the Americans. It was the
If I
French.
had to do, could you imagine what this would be like in the imperial system for the tribes
No,
to
no,
run
no,
this?
no,
Would have had custom come at me as
no. Don't go there. Don't go there because it's a nightmare. It's so easy to do in metric. It is so easy to do in metric.
No.
Yeah, it
no,
is,
no,
it is.
no. The imperial system's fantastic because it
Get
teaches
out.
you to learn different bases other than 10.
Exactly. Well said, Andy. And yeah, it kind of puts everybody.
Yeah, do a quarter of an inch.
It's a mathematical.
How many feet in a mile? How many feet in a mile? Somebody tell me.
Joe, I think
50 to 80.
yeah, it's 500,000 guineas to the moon.
Yeah.
I think.
And a couple
How many
of chains.
chains is that?
And a pint is different in America than it is in the UK too, right?
Yes, of course it is. It's
Imperial,
American imperial, isn't it?
One or something.
I hope so.
To be honest, the metric system is far easier because it's just tens, hundreds, thousands. If I can do it, then it's going to be easy.
To be, this is simple. I'm 1 meter and 92 centimeters high. I'm not 6'2". Damn it.
Damn it.
Where am I 6'2"? Am I 6 foot? What size of the foot?
Whose foot?
33
Depends
or
how many
34?
feet, how big your foot is.
It's a
It
standard.
would be the king's foot, right?
Yeah, it's the Queen's foot. That's right.
She's only got little feet. She's only a little one. If it's in the Queen, she's tiny.
You know what they say? The conversation is going south if a bunch of blokes are pulling out tape measures. And Ree is here, everybody. Oh, what did I walk into?
The water is cold and deep, right?
Yes.
Hold on. I'd just like to tell you, a perch is anything between 16 and 25 feet long. Just so
I
you know.
thought it was a fish. That's a bloody big fish, isn't it?
Yeah. There are 10 chains or 40 rods in a furlong, which is 1/8 of a mile.
There are some lovely comments to share. I don't know where to start, honestly.
Go on, let's have some comments. Go on.
Interesting way of putting your point across, Garbo. I think you did a great job.
I think there was a good way to explain things.
It would take 10 light years to escape from Joel's sex dungeon. It's official. Make every millimeter count. It's good advice.
Exactly.
It's good advice. Joel, for you tonight, looking good tonight. I like the no beard look. You look so much younger. I hadn't noticed, but you're right.
I feel terrible now. I haven't noticed. Sorry, Joel.
Joel should get on to Tinder.
No.
Nope.
No,
what are the best? We're going to come back to best snacks because snacks in Portugal is an important thing. And Charles likes hot wings for the record with his beer. We'll come back to that. I remember that well now from Amsterdam. It was the best.
I was only there for 3 days.
It was the best €2 I ever spent.
He's the only guy that can turn his room into red light district.
Yeah, flick of a switch. How many more pints before the lads start comparing inches? I think we've drawn the line.
I think we've been there.
Come on, guys, let Jordan get a word in. Are we being unfair to you, Jordan?
I'm enjoying the banter. Go ahead.
Good. Did you know there is a unit of measurement for pain? It's called hertz. Oh man. Okay.
In Joel's sex dungeon, it's kilohertz.
I thought that was a car rental place.
Okay. Best.
It's measured in Tesla.
Joel, tell us about tremosos. Why is this tremosos?
Actually, I love tremosos with beer.
During
the summer, it is a good complement to the beer. I like eating tremosos and peanuts.
Yes. We just tried this. What's it? Choco frite.
Oh, that's the salted. That's the salted broad beans, isn't it?
No, it's a fried cuttlefish.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh, that's
not much difference, really, is it?
Slightly different.
Yeah. Okay. So you like that with your beer? A bit of cuttlefish.
It worked very well with the beer.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Charles, this is the traditional one. If you're having a beer, you might well get given some of these, a little bowl full of these. And if you're a foreigner, the problem you might have is you'll just stick them straight in your mouth and try and eat them. The key to these is taking the outer skin off. You've got to squeeze them out of the outer shell like a broad bean.
The way I use it is that you see that white part of the tremoso. Yeah. I take a little nibble of it, then I squeeze the skin, and the tremoso shoots in.
Yeah.
That's so sexual.
So squeeze the little bit of skin, and it shoots straight in. I think that's basically there.
What a love card.
Taking.
I'm told that's how it works. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Just take a little nibble. Peel off a little bit of the skin, then you squeeze it, it'll pop.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute here. This is people putting. This is not something you do with beer. You don't put a clove.
That is just the bollocks of ads.
Okay, sorry. So there you go. Tremosos is the classic snack to have with beer.
Also amendoins, peanuts.
And peanuts. And at that point, you always get to say the classic line. Do you want to smell my peanuts? Which I love to say to any female partner out on a date. Try it seriously. It's funnier than it sounds. Okay.
It is a little bit dry. It is a little. It's a. I don't know if it is a fruit or a.
Hold on.
Close up. Oh, come on now.
Roasted
you can
nuts.
Share them.
Help yourself.
Now you see, in Britain, right, we'd have scratchings, a bag of scratchings, and if you're lucky, a pickled egg.
Oh yes, love pickled egg.
These, right?
Oh, vinegar crisps. The Americans would call them chips.
No.
But,
Jordan, you dog.
Is that the old Alentejo pipocos?
We have.
Yeah, you see. Pipoca is popcorn, but unless you're in the Alentejo, and then it's the pork scratching. So they expand pork rind rather than corn in the Alentejo.
In Panama, we call it chicharron.
Right.
Okay.
I don't eat snails.
I've never tried them. Never tried snails. Can anybody tell me what they're like?
They're delicious. I love them.
I cannot tell you because I don't eat them.
I like them. They're a bit of a faff in Portugal because they're so small. They're not like an escargot in France.
Yeah, they are called caracoletas.
Yeah,
and they taste like they are similar to
seafood, cockles.
Yeah,
a little bit,
or clams.
Yeah, a little bit chewy. Yeah. Do you think this
chicharron's another no carb snack? So you just drink beer and eat chicharron.
Yeah.
And eat a bit of protein on the side in saturated fat. Good shout. Are we moving towards sexual orientation? It's something we don't really talk about much in the man cave, is it?
If you want to, I mean.
Yeah,
I'm a lesbian.
We did a couple of weeks ago.
We went there, didn't we?
Done.
Bit of talk, cottaging. Yeah, I think we've done that. But Joao, if there's any more questions, I mean, it's at this point that it's quite a good idea to ask questions because we have become quite open by this part of the evening. Yes, the big ones are called caracoletas. Big one, caracoletas. Asian-style crispy fried prawn heads are fantastic. There's a bit. No way. The heads.
After a few beers, Carl, come on. After anything's doable after a few beers, isn't it?
I'll have the rest. You guys have the heads.
It's not the best bit of the prawn, is it? Let's face it. So that's interesting. Okay, I need to go for a Sagres break. Either that can mean two.
You go and have a wee. You go and have a wee, and I'll try and I'll hold the fort for you while you go. How's about that?
Hold my.
I'm glad you said you hold the
fort. Hold the fort. You hold your own. I'll hold the fort.
To tuck it in very nicely before you pull the zipper.
Eric, I've got while you're here, right? Tell us about yourself, because I don't know much about you. So you live where and you've done what, and just fill us in.
Okay, I've lived in New York for the better part of 55 years. Yeah, and recently moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been here for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Once I left New York, I'm now retired, and hopefully it stays that way.
Excellent.
My wife and I are looking to find our retirement home. So we're looking, we're going to be coming out to Portugal in September.
Excellent.
We'll be visiting Coimbra, Lisbon, Porto, in hopes of finding a place. And if all works out well, within the next year, we'll be there.
So what sort of a kind of lifestyle? That's a horrible word, but what sort of thing are you looking for, really? What's your dream? What do you want?
We're looking for a nice, easy lifestyle. We enjoy going out for dinner. We enjoy wine. We enjoy beer. Looking for a place for our retirement savings to go a long way. Portugal has a very good healthcare system, from what I can find out. So everything, all the boxes just get checked off. And we need to get the hell out of.
Sorry to interrupt you there a little bit, Eric. Compare the healthcare system to America. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
independently on the private sector and the public sector, they are a lot cheaper. There is a thing that, as an American, you may consider us to be more reasonable and affordable. Mm-hmm. As a local, for myself, it is a little bit expensive. But then again, the income from both sides of the viewpoint, on my side as a Portuguese, is a little bit different, because I think that even for a minimum wage, it is a bit of a struggle. As an American, I'm sure that your income is far greater even at the minimum wage. Mm-hmm. For example, so you will find that certain things that I will find expensive, you will find for sure a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Believe me, we're coming in September. All things working out fine. Just to search out different areas. My wife is like, "Why don't we just stay there?"
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we've never been there.
That might happen. It happens more than you think.
To choose, I will not try to convince you to pick one side. You are free to do it, of course. And what the environment that you think is more comfortable for you is the one that you should pick.
Right.
So those three towns, those three cities are pretty. They have their own. They have their own. They have their good things and they have their bad things. It's just a matter of you pointing them.
Carl's kebab gene has just gone off.
Are you looking for urban or suburban or rural?
Urban.
Okay.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I'm not planning on having a car.
Okay.
I understand the transportation system is quite adequate.
Yeah.
I'm ready for all that.
So Coimbra is on the main railway line from Porto to Lisbon, so it's a very, very good option.
Yeah, you can. For example,
if you come away from the main railway line, then you need to be near a branch railway line so you can get onto the main line if you're not going to have a car. So
I may have to consult with you guys once I come into Lisbon. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get from Lisbon to Porto, and then
Porto.
If you want any advice, or if you want me to personally show you around the city of Porto, even neighborhood cities, I don't have any trouble showing you around.
Well, that would be awesome.
Joel, you're a bloody legend.
Yes,
You know,
and I will definitely take you up on your offer. And
Great.
lunch is on me, dinner is on me.
Joel,
the other,
if I was there now, I'd give you a big sloppy kiss.
The other thing is that main line from Porto through Coimbra to Lisbon goes on to the Algarve. So
I'm not that interested in the Algarve because I'm looking for a moderating climate.
Sure,
I'm not looking to be. I don't want to live in Florida.
No,
if I want to live in Florida in the United States, I'll just go there.
Coimbra is a
it's almost
fantastic.
a perfect time because you will not catch much cold. You will catch a little bit of warm still from the summer.
That's fine.
September.
Yeah.
And you will, from traveling those 3 cities, you will find out what is the difference in temperature and also about housing.
Yeah, but believe me, Charlotte's plenty warm, so I know what warm is all about. So, go ahead.
I've got to ask you, Eric. I didn't catch it, but are you after sort of a city life, or are you more rural sort of?
No, city life. City life.
Coimbra, then. Coimbra is a lovely place because Lisbon and Porto are going to be expensive, like any big city.
Yeah.
But Coimbra has all that charm and character, but it has an intimacy that is unique almost, I suppose. And it has that friendliness and that warmth. You don't feel overwhelmed by anything, and it's a nice size. So I definitely look at Coimbra.
I think
that's why I was sort of hoping, excuse me, that Frank was going to be on tonight.
Yeah.
Because I understand.
How's that beer treating, Eric?
We're good. Frank started out in Lisbon and he ended up in Coimbra.
Well, doesn't Carl live in Coimbra too?
No.
He lives near.
Yeah, I live 20 minutes north. 25 minutes north.
I lived in Coimbra for a couple of years on and off, but then moved to Leiria for other reasons.
I notice he says Coimbra.
Yeah, you are free to
Coimbra.
Yeah, you go to Xbox Facebook if you want, and you want to show you around Porto, for example. I don't have any issues. It's just contact Carl or Gary, and they can point you to me if you want me to show you around Porto.
I appreciate that, sir, and we will definitely take you up on your offer.
Can't wait for the selfie.
I'm also responding to Scott's
Eric, don't go to the sex dungeon, though.
Clearly.
Come to mine instead.
Come on, it's time to leave.
Well, the tour is free and the sex dungeon is extra, right?
I hope
it's more of a shed than a dungeon, but okay.
So Jordan, where are you now? Sorry, I'm trying to keep pace with you. Where you actually are now?
So my wife and I, we lived in Panama for 8 years, and we're in the process of emigrating here. We're in Lisbon right now, near Ajuda, in a place we found through expats in Portugal, a spot home apartment. And we're looking around trying to find out where we really want to live. We looked in Cascais, Estoril, different parts of Setúbal, and like today we were in, I can't pronounce it, Ajetau, and we saw this great house that we almost put an offer on. So we're trying to figure out where we want to live ultimately, but we're moving here permanently this year.
We've got plenty of choice, mate. Plenty of choice.
Whereabouts in Panama were you?
We look at, we love. So
yeah.
Whereabouts in Panama were you?
Chicharron, Panama City, right in the city.
Okay. Leona and I were there last January.
Did you go to the city? Where'd you go?
Well, I was out there for 3 weeks, and Leona joined me for the middle week. But we were in Panama City. But we hired a car and we drove up to the the Caribbean coast, and we drove.
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half away, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we drove around. Fantastic, beautiful place. Loved it.
It's a lovely country, but my wife doesn't like the humidity, and things don't quite work right in Panama. So we're looking for a little better lifestyle.
We love the metro, and we love the avocado restaurant in the old city. Did you go there?
Avocado? I don't know that one. No.
Yeah, there's an avocado restaurant where where everything is avocado. Even the desserts are made from avocado. Amazing place.
Do you know that one?
Yeah, the girls from Canada, they have 3 restaurants.
Yeah, my wife knows them. So. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys,
the best.
I don't want to worry you guys, but I've only got this much left.
You are?
Just figured out I've got that much left. Sorry up, hadn't I? Sorry, Jordan.
No, you're fine.
Okay, let's catch
you
up.
can have 1 millimeter of my time, Garbo.
Thank you, my mate.
That's pretty generous, actually. Let's have a look at the comments. Mark says, "Ask any chef. The best flavor of prawns are in the heads." No, yeah, I think that's right. The flavor's there, but the texture's awful, isn't it? I mean, I guess if you make a fish stock or a seafood stock, you're going to want to boil the heads up. But I mean, I guess you've got to really deep fry it to make it crispy and edible. Man, Carl looks like a Portuguese most wanted in that mugshot.
There you go.
I've got to admit, Carl, that is a bit rough. That is a bit rough.
I thought it was like a sort of Jason Statham look. I quite like it, but I'll take your feedback on that. Sardinias Coloradas, anyone? Yeah, João Mendonça is talking about. I'll put the link in for you if you want to join us, João. But yeah, your barbecued sardines, that's got to be good, and it with some beers. I do have a buffet going on. I've picked up some nice cold meats and a few crisps tonight. The dog's come in and joining me for a bit of that.
How's his tail? Did we find out what was wrong with his tail?
Yeah, I took him to the vet today. He's got a flea allergy.
Right.
Just like their owners, aren't they? They say about dogs. So he's got a flea allergy. It looks miserable. I mean, it looks like something from Halloween. But she's given me some antibiotics. That's why I've got cold meat, because you've got to wrap up the antibiotics in a bit of salami or something.
That old trick, eh?
Yeah, that old trick. And that's just for me. Couldn't possibly live without a car, says Doug. I mean, Doug, tell us about your list of cars that you've got in your garage, because you're like the old school Jamiroquai.
He's got a Jag, hasn't he?
He's got a proper sheepskin jacket motor in there somewhere, and a roller, I think. Carl, I would love to come on your live.
Come on, Joel.
That's Amsterdam, not Matt, David.
Hey, all right.
That's in Joel's sex dungeon, I think, right?
Let's find if Joao is all talk or can actually achieve that right now. But we're just waiting for his Twizzler to stop twizzling and see if this is for real. Yes, Joao Mendonça, good evening to you. Well,
didn't say much, does he?
Oh,
he's coming or arriving, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a little bit frozen.
Oh, nothing happening there for the moment. Let's see if he defrosts.
He needs a defibrillator.
Have you got one in there, Joe? I'll be making a similar tour of Portugal in September. Same 3 bases Eric has mentioned. This is a good plan, Eric.
Let's do it.
Todd Jones. Oh, loads of comments. I'll be doing the same sort of investigative trip in September, but I'll be sticking to the Algarve this time. Scott. Says Todd. Very kind of you, Joel, says Scott. Scott listens to a lot of our stuff on replay, we found out today, so I appreciate that, Scott. Azitan is the place you were reaching for, Jordan. Ree.
Oh, yeah.
Carvo. 6 inches is 6 inches. It won't be bigger using metric numbers.
Ree, as ever, you are the woman to humble me and make me speechless. So
there you go. That's off to Ree. Hola, bon dia from David Durham. David's here tonight. I'm taking Mia Ejmir's online class and hoping to learn enough to chat a little when I visit Portugal at the end of August. Good news, David. And I'm sure she will have rubbed off on you, or you hope anyway. Right now, my wife and I are planning on...
That's naughty, Carl. That is just naughty.
You didn't have to mention it. Right
she
now,
might be watching. She might be watching. You're in trouble if she is.
Let's move on. Right now, my wife and I are planning on looking at homes in the Algarve and Madeira, says Stephen Green. Joao still struggling to join us. You don't have enough hands, Carl. Food on both sides of you. And a beer. Yes. I need the juggling skills. We definitely need your circus workshop when you come over. Are we up for that? Going on a circus skill weekend as the man cave? What do you reckon?
Anything's
Dress
possible.
up as clowns.
Yeah, clowning, the sacred art of. We could go do some of that with Paul. He does that stuff.
Be honest though. Be honest. Would you ever shake hands with the clown?
No, you get yeah, and then you get smell this flower. You wouldn't get
this.
You wouldn't get a lift either, would you? You open the door with a bloody car and a car door. So, oh dear.
It'd be like Who Killed Roger Rabbit all over again.
Yeah. Glacio D, good luck in your search, Eric. A Jag XJ Sport. There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah. See, that's a beautiful motor. But in the garage, if you go into Doug's garage, here we go. He's got his first Austin 1300 GT.
Oh, he has a Saab. I've owned two Saabs.
He has at least 3 cars I like from that list. The Austin 1300 GT, the Volvo 240 GL Saloon, and GLT 740 Saloon. Those are very nice cars and very sturdy.
And the Saab's nice. The Saab's a good car.
I used to have a 900P. It was
I
a
don't like
lovely car. I love that car.
Also, Mondeo, they tend to be a little bit rusty, and Jaguar, yeah, it's a good car too.
Nice British car, huh?
Oh dear. But nobody mentioned the Mondeo estate, and no one said, "Oh yeah."
I've never heard of a Mondeo estate. I've no idea what the hell a Mondeo estate is.
It's a Ford.
It's a Ford.
The Mondeo, right, is brilliant because it's untouchable.
For example, you had the Mercury Capri in the United States, which was here in Europe the Ford Capri. This is the same car. The only difference is in the badge.
But a Mondeo is nothing like.
Okay, here's a good question, right? Very quickly, to all 6 of you, if I could offer you a car, only one, what would it be?
If I could have a car?
Yeah, anyone.
Oh, it's a 900P Saab for me. I love that car.
Okay, 900T Saab. Joel?
240Z.
Carl?
I'd get my Mercedes 190D back.
Okay.
Love that car.
Andy?
Bentley convertible.
Oh, you tough.
Somebody has taste, do they? What's that? $300,000? Yeah.
Yeah.
A Bendy. What's Bendy?
Bentley
convertible.
Bentley. My man.
I'm being offered it, aren't I? I'm not having to pay for it. So.
My man at 12 o'clock.
It's hard to say.
Come on.
You know, I thought of something that there's no way I could never ever afford it.
Doesn't matter. Price, no.
I cannot afford the Datsun 240Z, for example.
Nah.
And I just love that.
Would you like a Sherman tank?
See,
come on, Eric. I've got to feel this.
Truth be told, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about my Mini Cooper with the Union Jack on the top. I sold that while I was in New York before I came back home this weekend. I'm now partial to like a BMW X6 or something like that.
I used to love you.
Sorry.
You're
still my man of reason. Sorry.
Oh, seriously? No. That is a wrong choice. You were right on the money on the first one.
The Mini. Was that a proper Mini?
Even I am a big fat ass, and I even can fit on a Mini without even pulling.
2 weeks ago, you told me. 2 weeks ago, you told me a Mini is not made in Britain anymore. It's made in Germany.
Oh, you're talking about the BMW Mini. We're talking about, not the Mini. That's different. That's different. That's not a Mini.
No, we're talking the Italian job Mini, right? The real one.
See, but I'm not. When I come to Portugal, I'm not going to have a car, so I don't have to worry about that.
What you want?
I'd love to not have a car, but because I need to hoik my wheelchair around, I have to have a car. So
I guarantee you, Eric. I guarantee you, Eric, right? And you'll see it when you come here, right? You'll want one of those cultivator things with two wheels at the front and a trailer on the back that goes about 10 miles an hour, and you've got the old lady by the side of you. For some reason, you'll want one. I don't know why, but I do.
They're only €18,000 as well, aren't they?
All right, I gotta go get another beer. Hold on.
They are smaller tractor sheep.
Oh, that's the thing, isn't it? Cars are very expensive here.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
They are.
You pay a real premium for them.
Even secondhand, they are very, very, very.
And then even to drive on the roads, there's tolls everywhere. Just to go from Stubble up to Lisbon costs you 10 euros or something, right?
For example, I will give you a cheap example if it is possible. A VW Golf Mark IV. The gasoline versions, you can find one for around from 1,500 euros to up to 5,000, 6,000 euros. A Mark IV. A gasoline version, you'll find between 1 and 3,000, 4,000 euros. A diesel version, a diesel car with the same make and model, you will find about 6 and up. Diesel cars here are more have more value, would keep value longer. For example, off-roaders also tend to keep their used price sales a lot longer. They don't depreciate that much.
Yeah, well, when you see the standard of the roads outside the motorways and the A roads, you understand why.
Yeah. There are some pretty shitty roads here too.
Yeah.
National roads tend to be the worst of them all.
Bloody right.
Yeah. For example, my father's car is a 97 Peugeot 106, and the market on the used car market, this car is about 400, 500 euros. And it's been since 1999 in my father's hands. This car will go straight to the junkyard. Mine is older and is more expensive to be bought because it is a diesel.
Mm. Yeah,
that is the thing.
Chaps, we haven't finished Doug's list of cars yet. So we've got that Pure XJ Sport, XJS. The Austin is classic. It's probably his first car. So, two Volvos. Yeah, and it's not even the Vanden Pla, I don't think. It's just a straightforward GT. Mondeo Estate. And then he's also got a Mercedes 320 and a Bentley 8.
Hasn't he got an Allegro as well? I'm sure I saw he got a picture of an Allegro somewhere.
Well, Allegro falls apart.
All aggro.
Now, Doug lives in Wales, right?
That's right.
He does.
Okay. So now when he decides to come to Portugal, what happens to all these cars?
He doesn't bring them with him.
Yeah,
he buys a car transporter.
Yeah.
There's a huge import duty, right?
He sells them and then he buys proper left-hand drive cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portugal. He's not a proper expat. He's a lightweight kind of toe dipper.
Comes here on holiday.
Yep, just uses us at his convenience and whim. But we still love him. DJ liked the idea of being rubbed off on. I'll leave it there. I love clowns. Hubby collects clown figurines and prints. Lol, it freaks out the grandkids. I bet it does. The offer from Paul, Circus School Paul, is tight wire walking, trapeze, juggling, and finished with a beer. I think we should do that.
I'll tell the juggling.
It'd be the other way around.
God knows how I managed that, but I'll give it a go.
What,
There you go,
yeah.
Kent. 900 feet.
I don't mind.
Yeah, they are, the Saabs are overbuilt, and since no longer that is no longer a brand, since it's off.
You're live now, João.
João, good evening.
João.
Boa noite.
Boa noite. Tudo bem?
Tudo bem, obrigado.
Just chip in as you wish, João. I love my Saab 900 Turbo. Oh, here we go. This is being translated for us. Mondeo is Ford Fusion in the USA. What do we think of that?
No, can't be surely, because the Fusion is the little one. Mondeo is the.
It is. The Mondeos, as we know, as the The round ones with the front round headlights.
You got a great advertising campaign there, Joel. It's the round one with the headlights.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be bragging about it.
Exactly.
It's the Sex Dungeon 2 headlights, right? So
Absolutely. Jordan, it's looking a bit tag team. I think you're going to be leaving us in shortly.
it's quite late for me.
Okay, fair play. Fair play. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Really, really appreciated your company. Oh, he's gone
Cheers,
already.
Jordan.
I'm going to sign off, guys. Thanks a lot. Ciao.
All right, take care.
Take care, mate.
All right. I think he's had the come hither look because that was really hasty, wasn't it?
What does that look like, Carl?
Yeah.
I can't remember. What does that look like?
His wife is going.
Good for him.
And then
Has he got a bad neck?
Oh,
When he's been in Portugal a bit longer, then he'll understand that late nights are normal.
yeah, exactly. But she'll have said, like, this is a time sensitive offer. If you don't stop talking to those idiots and get into I'll be asleep. I'll be asleep. So he just left very promptly there. I think. Yeah, have a great evening, Jordan. Good to have you here. My first car, says DJ, was an Austin Allegro. The front wheel on the passenger side fell off in the second week. Still, I always remember it. With a
My first car was a van.
That's quite contradictory, isn't it? But that's because Portuguese people get cheaper insurance on vans, don't they?
No, because back, no, it is still a thing. I didn't have insurance on my car. I used my parents' car, and their first car was a van. It was a 9-seater Nissan Urban.
Okay.
So that was my first car. Where I learned to drive. I learned to drive in a big way. Then I inherit, so to speak, my grandfather's car, which was a Renault Super 5. And that was actually my first car. Insurance was
Joel,
on
this
my name.
Yeah.
is that right? Is that
Cliff?
Cliff. I rather hoped I could be Cliff.
Okay, I remember an episode from Cheers, and
That's well played, Charles.
Yeah, this is going to end bad for me, because that character in one episode of Beers, they were doing a beard growth contest, and he was showing up just with a few puffs of hair on the face, and 2 days later he shows up with a full beard, bigger than everything else, and he had glued it with some kind of tape there is, and he could not remove from his face. So that was not funny for me to be compared with him.
Okay, he's not happy about that, Charles. Merc 190D, awesome. I thought so, Doug. I'm really
Great car.
Yeah, the African taxi, it's known as, isn't it? 240. Awesome, Joe. I had an orange one. Nice Japanese E-types. Doug knows his.
The thing is, it's not. Sorry, Carl. Just to make a quick point. The thing is, I love the body style of the 240, but it's not just the body style. It is the simple that L28 straight 6 engine. To me, it has a so metallic noise to it from hearing it, the engine roaring.
Joel, you have to put the red light on when you talk about that, or else it's not nearly as sexy.
Come on, let's do that again.
Come on, Joel, let's have it. The red light.
McLaren 720S Spider for Charles. Apparently, you got all Piers Morgan when the X6 was mentioned.
Well, I'm sorry, because I used to work at Rover, not for Rover. Right, what BMW did to Rover was just appalling. It was appalling. It really was. So I'm a bit of a twisted person, and I admit it. So there you go.
1950 Chevy Bel Air for me, says Ree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just do like me, buy a second-hand car. This is in Portugal. We still haven't heard your earlier joke that was beyond the pale. An old one, €600, and you can go everywhere. My actual car is a Renault Megane Classic 98, everything electric and air conditioning. early electric accessories there in the early Megane, which went from a saloon. People carried, didn't it? I sell them. Oh, he's a car dealer. Is Doug? He thought Portuguese cars were expensive, and he's right. Mark, I thought Allegros were deemed as a crime against humanity by some, for sure.
They were more aerodynamic going backwards than they were forwards.
Yeah, it's a funny looking thing, wasn't it? The latest Mondeos are superb cars. It's a Ford.
I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is the Jaguars, the 5-door Jaguars, the XJs, they share the same platform as the Ford Mondeo. It is the same chassis.
They have the same floor pan.
That's a very good question, right? Because I used to work at Jag as well. When they made the X-Type, all the parts for the one model were from Ford Mondeos, the V6 engine and everything. Yeah. And loads of them came back because somebody said, if I wanted to buy a Ford Mondeo.
The window switches, the blinkers, the turn signals, the window wipers, the heater controls, they are shared between the two. Even
it was only the 4-liter V8. It was proper Jag.
Hold on a minute. Portuguese people were never bothered about the indicators anyway, were they?
Well, they shouldn't have. They use them randomly. I was coming along this morning, coming on the dual carriageway back from dropping Leona's daughter to school, and there was a huge articulated lorry coming up the other way, indicating left. I was going to turn left, and so thankfully I didn't rely on the indicator. Otherwise, we'd have been crushed.
Hey, Garbo, what are you driving these days?
Me, I've got a very elderly Peugeot 406, which I love dearly. It's a great little car.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It is more reliable than everything else on the road.
It's not flash, but it does the job very well. But my wife has a Fiat Panda 4x4, which is just an absolute beautiful thing to have around here. Because
the T-Play one, the box shoe one.
No, it's the younger one, the rounded one. They're good. They're good.
I have done off-road trails, and I've seen two guys driving a 4x4 Panda C-Slave version, the smaller one, the boxy one, doing off-road and putting to shame. Honestly,
you're right. I agree.
Jeeps like Opel Fronteras, Nissan Patrols, Nissan Navaras, everything else to shame. Because
Joel, I've had Land Rovers, Range Rovers, Isuzus, right? But this little thing, right, will just go anywhere, especially around these little tracks and stuff.
There's a video on YouTube. I will see if I'll find it. I will share it on the chat of the man cave. There is a guy driving a Portuguese Renault 4L doing off-road tracks the same path that Jeeps do, climbing it like it was nothing.
It's a strange thing because they're so small and light. They can do it.
Doing like it was not. There is a video from. Sorry for the off topic. There is a video of 3 American guys driving off road, and the car were a Daewoo Lanús, a Toyota Previa, and a Ford Model T. The name of the video was called "All Cars Go to Heaven." Matt Farah is one of them, and that video was so funny because a Ford Model T doing off-road path is just funny. It's comical because they have so much flexibility on the older car that is amazing.
Do you know something, right? And I'll try and put a photo of it. The loveliest car I've ever owned, right? And I'm biased because I used to work at Rover. Was a Rover 800 2-door coupe. It was meant for the American market, strangely enough, but it never really took off. But what a beautiful car, right? It was fast. It was pretty economical. It was luxurious inside. Why it never really took off there, I don't. Maybe it was pricing or whatever it was. But it was the most beautiful car to own. It was exciting. It was classy.
The Ford Motor Company took the engine to put on I think it was Mercury.
See, the Rover,
No,
this was it was a quality
British.
problem in the United States. That was a big problem.
I used to have one, right? And we called it Big Red.
Let alone the United States, but
No,
I used to have one that was called
policy of 25 years. You cannot import cars.
Honestly, this was a beautiful car. If anyone on this screen would have driven it, you'd have loved it. It was just something exceptional. It was lovely.
sorry, Gary, what was this again?
My Rover 800 Coupe. It was beautiful. But
All
it
right.
had the 2 litre. It didn't have the Honda engine. It had the 2 litre turbo Rover engine in it, which was just rapid as hell.
I remember being invited to Donington Park when they released the new range of 800 and 600 series in it must have been about 92, I would think. Fantastic taking those cars around around Donington Park.
Was that
even Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson had to turn around and say it was one of the most beautiful cars he'd ever seen, and that's praise, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Were you invited by a pharmaceutical company, Doc?
Absolutely, before the rules changed.
I knew it. Right, we've made Joel wait long enough. Joel,
come on, Joel, join in. You've been too quiet.
Here to Carl to cars. Where do we go next?
To Joel. Introducing Joel Mendonça, everybody. What brings you here?
Well, I found out about this site, and after watching you guys talk about food, wine, and living out in mainland Portugal, which I've never been, and hopefully I can explore it one day, because I've lived in the UK since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
Came from Madeira, and I've always remained here. This has been home. Apart from the old man passing away back in 2003, so Mum decided to move back to Madeira. So it is, in a way, good to go there 2-3 times a year like I do. Well, I haven't done so since the pandemonium. I mean, I came back just before the lockdown last year, so I haven't been back since. But when I was out there back in February, March last year, we had already planned trips to Lisbon, the hotels, the flights over to Porto, to do a lot of quite a few destinations in mainland, and everything came down, everything closed down, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do it. So let's hope the near future. I don't know about this year yet. I haven't done any work. It's been miserable. I mean, like, as you know, I'm a chauffeur.
Yeah. And you live in Crystal Palace, right? So you're a chauffeur for VIP clients, and you live near London.
Yeah, just up the road, the Palace. Lived this side of the Streatham for about 10-15 years or something. Moved around, lived in Islington, lived in Shepherd's Bush, but I grew up in Portobello, Ladbroke Grove.
Did
Good
you?
old London place, yeah.
Oh,
Loved
wow.
it.
Are there many Portuguese people in Ladbroke Grove?
There still is. It's quite a big community. It's always been either Ladbroke Grove, West London, or Stockwell, Brixton.
Right. Okay. Amazing. One of the most beautiful things about doing the Good Morning Portugal show, being part of Expats Portugal, is this handful of people, like Portuguese people, who tune in to find out about Portugal, like the old place. And I'm so flattered and moved by that. I think it's really beautiful that you would bother with us. and that you would find some sort of pleasure and connection with Portugal through us, of all people. So I'm so delighted, Joel. I'm really grateful to you. It's the same with Alyssa, who's lived in Birmingham for years and years. She tunes into the Good Morning Portugal show to keep a connection with Portugal, of all people, through us. It's quite incredible, isn't it, Gary?
How crazy is that? It's wonderful, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. I love it.
Yeah.
No, it is great. Like I think I mentioned to you, I've got a couple of mates. Actually, in their days, they were quite hooligans because they followed Millwall.
The firm.
and they live in the firm, and they live in Madeira, and they've lived there for 30 odd years. The kids grew up there, and the only thing they come over is for the Cheltenham Festival every bloody year, which they were disappointed this year.
Yeah, of course.
Last year. But apart from that, they do quite well. And we've got another island close by, which you can fly from Madeira. It's a 10-minute flight, or you can take a ferry 2.5 hours, which is called Porto Santo. And they've done quite well business-wise. They've got a place in Iver Island to live on. And I mean, I've always said to them, it's a shame because I've always wanted to live back home once I grew up, but I think I got so used to the UK. It's not the same.
No,
Whenever I go there, after a month or something, 3 weeks, I start missing London, and you just get used to a place. And this has been home.
Yeah,
it is. It's kind of. It's like mañana. Everything is like laid back. You got to Madeira. No, you got the whole week to do it. You just get drunk every day, and I mean, the car will drive you home. I mean, there's no. I mean, I respect the law. I don't drink and drive ever, because I do that for a living. But in Madeira, I never drive. They just take me out. But everybody drinks. It's unbelievable. I mean, within 10, 20 feet from my mum's door, there's a mechanic. And I just see them every day working at it. And next door to that is one of these local drinking places. What's the name they use? Anyway, every so often you see a guy who's come back for his car, and they come in, a Tashka, and they always come in and have a drink. And like that goes on from like 9 o'clock in the morning till about 6 o'clock in the evening. I don't know if they ever get any work done, but they're always on the piss. It's unreal, Madeira. It really is. It must be the same over there. It must be the same in the mainland. People just drink, and you couldn't do that in England. You couldn't do it.
No.
Drink to celebrate and drink to forget.
Yeah, but my hat's off to you lot, because I admire you lot, like yourself, the Doc, Garver, Joel already from there, yourself, Carl, living in Portugal. It feels kind of, why not, if you guys can do it? I mean, especially for the weather.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at, 7 or 8 months of the year compared to here, like
2.
7 or 8 months the opposite way, kind of thing, if you know what I mean. But then again, I'm quite happy with 28, 30. That's warm enough for me because I'm so used to it. But mind you, saying that, every time I'm in Madeira, my mates always say to me, because the temperature in London, you seem to have a lot of winter and rain and everything, it sort of keeps you looking younger in a way than they do back in Madeira. Everyone looks kind of old. I mean, I've just turned 63. What? And I've got some mates over there. They look like they're 70, 80. Yeah.
Now, the sun does do that. The sun definitely ages people. It's interesting.
What do you have for breakfast, Joel?
No, but it's true. It's true. Living here, I think I haven't aged in the past 20 years. I feel good,
I bet your vitamin D levels are low though.
No, I do take those over 50 capsules. What they call
Okay.
one a day.
Well,
Leave
man.
it to the doc.
So
Joe.
they're quite helpful. But yeah, I'm just looking forward. One things do change, and hopefully they are changing now. I mean, what I heard today was like 40% down. Things are getting better. I think this lockdown should have been done last year, not at the time we did it by Christmas. And I think we've done ever so well. I'm just waiting for my second vaccine. My missus is getting her second one next week, and the things are looking up. Hopefully, the bosses will come over, because, like I said to you, I work for the Qatari royal family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chauffeuring.
I had a
Driving
friend who used
nice.
to look after the Kuwaiti, the Al Sabahs from Kuwait in London.
Okay.
Guy called Nav Bakari.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't know. I mean, I've been around. I've worked for the Saudi embassy as well.
Sure.
But years and years ago, I did, like I mentioned to you, Cole, I did work for the BBC, good old British Broadcasting Corporation.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
You're the man, aren't you? Who and let me get this right: Mendonca or Mendonça?
It's Mendonça, because under the C, where it says CA, it's got like a cedilla, a comma.
So I've got that right. Now you're the man. When we were talking about Margaret Thatcher, and you're a Boris supporter, right? Okay, so the person I can compare you with is my mother, who came from the Far East, who's come over from the colonies, as it were, lived in Britain for many decades. She's a Thatcher.
Where's your mother from?
She's from Malaysia originally, Singapore and Malaysia. And
I said to you, my wife is Indonesian, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's where I got the banter with the food and everything.
Yeah. What is it about expats though that go to the UK and love the kind of more right wing politics? Because it's almost it is a truism, isn't it? To people who come in and they're working hard, they're establishing themselves in a new country, they tend to associate with the right side of politics, as in right wing side of politics. Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. For me, myself, I experienced that when Maggie was on the throne.
On the throne,
when she was, she helped a lot of. Well, I don't know about the UK, but in London, stop it. But in London, she did help out a lot of first-time buyers and everything. Everyone was getting council flats and everything. It kicked off there, and I mean, when it came for having the cojones, the balls, she did it. Went out to Argentina, Las Islas Malvinas, as you know. Come on, Gabo. You got to say, I mean, you look at your history.
Murdered a load of conscripts on the Belgrano.
Yeah, right. Look, okay,
hang on, right. I'm going to have this right.
Man of reason. Here we go.
If Maggie had not had cutbacks and took away those Atlantic patrol ships to save money, the Falklands would never have been invaded, as it never was before. So I'm sorry, Joel. That's completely in my books wrong, because she cut back, she took the patrol ships away. Yeah. The Argies turned and said, "Okay, let's get in there now. It's open country."
Come on,
and that's what caused the Falklands War.
Of course, but you know that politics is not about rational things like that, is it? That what I'm interested in investigating here is it's about identification, isn't it? And where you put yourself emotionally, and that's why I'm so interested in this match of, like, you went to England when you were 10 years of age, and your experience of growing up in England, Joel, would be as somebody coming into the culture. You'd have a very different experience to somebody who grew up there, and so you are thinking about making a life for yourself, aren't you? And the appeal of those kind of more right wing kind of sensibilities of, like, you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Everything you make in the world is your own doing, and that's Thatcher all the way, isn't it? She claim to be about that, and I understand that association. Whether or not we agree politically, I do get that kind of political resonance and association because you do see it with expats, unless and it depends, doesn't it? If you're an expat who has a lot of wealth, then you don't have to be quite in line like that, do you? If you're a self-made person.
Andy, actually, both me and Doc should go over to the left.
My gesticulation was at Gary, who was
let's do this.
Intimating that I was one of these wealthy people. I'm not a wealthy person.
No, I was waiting for you to come in. I was saying, come in, Doc.
Oh, okay.
I've got it right now. Look, all the lefties.
We're on the left now, mate. Yeah, we're on the left.
The lefties are on the left. Top right is most left.
And centrals.
And maybe, and then right top. Yeah. Joao, and I think that's about right now. Joel should probably be a little bit over more to the. I don't know. He's probably centre, but you'll have seen this with what are they called? The people who come from the colonies. The first generation of Indian immigrants into the UK. Why is it that so many there are so many Tories now of Indian and sometimes West Indian extraction?
I can't understand it. I really can't understand it.
I can. I know why.
The Tories have been absolutely no friend to the ordinary immigrant, a member of the immigrant community in the UK, and it's just it beggars belief. It really beggars belief. Honestly, it's mad. I mean, Doug's got got a point. Foreign people wanting to fit in. I think that's a little bit condescending, but I think there is some truth in that.
I fitted in because I came at such an early age and grew up here. I don't know any better. I mean, if you were to ask me about Portuguese history, there isn't a lot I can tell you. I can tell you more about English history than anything else, even though.
But Joao, you came in when did you arrive in the UK?
And what was it? 60? Was it 69?
Okay, so you're a little bit older than me, and you saw the miners' strike, and you saw the way the police behaved during that strike. And I'm quite happy to argue the rights and wrongs of the strike. But forget that for the moment. Look at what happened in terms of the way the police were used. Look at what happened in terms of the way individual freedoms were curtailed. I was stopped driving down the motorway because the police thought I was going to go and support the strikers. I was turned back.
Because you were, weren't you?
Of course I was. But the point is, within my own country, I was prevented from travelling down the motorway.
No, I get. Your freedoms were curtailed, and your political freedom was being denied you. You couldn't demonstrate. Could you imagine doing that now? Could you imagine putting that now in that framework?
Yeah, in the pandemic,
we're getting very close to sort of undemocratic dictatorship.
I disagree with you, Carl. Right?
From a liberal perspective, that was what was happening.
We've got the best police in the world.
You know this march that was in London, the Freedom March and everything, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Yes,
that would not have happened. In my day with the miners, right? They were battered shit out of them, right? If they tried to, and that just wouldn't have happened.
No, but you saw what happened a few weeks before the big one. There were too many people last weekend to be treated in that way.
But Carl, how did they get there? How did they get there? Right, they were allowed to get there. Now, in my time, they were stopped getting there, like Andy was.
But that was also happening in this time. That is happening in our time, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. What I'm trying to understand here, and what I think I do understand, is, you can't deny Joao's own experience. He's a Thatcher fan. He thinks that the Met Police are the best in the world. And what I'm interested in is why he thinks that. Okay, I'm sorry to talk about you while you're here, Joao, but it's the point that I'm interested in here is how that occurs. And I remember getting a lift from my dad's house to Gatwick Airport, I think it was, and it was an Indian taxi driver whose family first arrived in UK, and they all they were talking about this guy was a Tory, him or his brother was a Tory MP. And they're fully in line with Tory policy and Tory politics. And I was thinking, that's interesting. Why is that then? And he talked about it from the point of view of when they first got to England, the bed was never cold. They had one chap was sleeping in it whilst the other one was working, and then they swapped over, and they talked about how shitty their life was when they first got to the UK, and they identify their opportunity in life in line with right-wing politics and not left-wing politics. And even though I don't agree with that, I totally get it, and that's what I'm exploring here. That's the interesting thing to me talking to Joao about that.
But Carl, the right wing were firebombing Indian households in the East End.
I understand that. I get it. I totally understand that. But that you can't deny people.
And the BNP, we had Tyndall marching in Nazi regalia. For God's sake! And this was the right wing, and the links between the right wing of the Conservative Party and the BNP and the National Front were frightening.
But they're not the Tory party. No,
but there were the right wing of the Tories. But people like Harvey Procter and the Monday Club were very closely associated with the BNP and the National Front. Extremely closely associated.
I get it, but that's different. That's different to the let's call it the immigrant mindset that resonates with right wing politics.
I'm an immigrant and I'm left wing.
Yeah, but that's because you're a comfortable bloke.
No, it's not. I lost everything.
My turn, mister.
Eric was.
Do you not find it strange?
No.
Just 1 second, Eric. Just 1 second.
I'm getting my attention because the man of reason has something to say.
Okay, mate. Thank you. Thank you for your support. This is such a strange turn of affair, right? I have come to Portugal because I believe in the way the Portuguese see things and their values, their family values, and the way they look after each other, right? Which is almost extinct in my country. Now, João has gone to Britain, and whatever his reasons are, it just befuddles me, because it's every man for himself in Britain, and the more money you get, and the more better clothes you wear, the big car you wear, that's superficial to me. I've come back to basics. What matters to me here is my community, the people around me, and that family value thing, and I can't get that back home.
I respect that, Garvel. That's you. In my way of seeing, this is the only kind of good living that I can give my family is in UK.
I understand.
I couldn't manage in Portugal. I mean, if I could earn in a region with food chucked in a matter of what, 150 euro a day. I couldn't make that in Portugal. I can easily make it here in England.
I understand, mate.
And I get to drive the top cars, the Chevys and whatever. I mean, the governor brings these cars just to have them here while he's driving them here. Then he ships them over, and I mean, their lifestyle is something that I don't understand about. But mind you, they've got the money to do it, and it's a pleasure for me to be working for them and to know these kind of people. But I don't know. The thing I like about Britain as well, we've got causes for everything, in a way of trying to explain. There's rights for everything. not just human rights, but animal rights, every kind of what you can think of the top of your head. And in Portugal, it's not so. It's not like that. And I think for you to have a decent kind of living as well, you've got to have a bit of money in Portugal. Which,
it's true. Joao, you're right, because us lot,
the kind of living I have here, you have to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, not many people move to Portugal to live a subsistence economic life, do they?
Sure.
Say how great that is, and so this is the intersection, I think, isn't it, between what's right in the right and what's right in the left. We can find some common ground there, even though we find the extremes of each other's arguments pretty appalling.
But how do we explain, like, the Portuguese people I see, and I know they haven't got a lot of money compared to me. I'm probably, you know, in their eyes, multi-millionaire, but I'm not. But the Portuguese people I meet are generous, they're kind-hearted, they're caring. Now, what does that say? You know, they haven't got a lot, but they're still willing to share it. But go to Britain, where, you know, people are earning megabucks and they won't give a shit.
Yeah, but what about the working class people?
I've seen this all around the world. I've seen it in India. I've seen it in the Philippines. I've seen it in Kenya, where the most hospitable people are the ones with the least to give.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. I've been
I
there.
agree.
I know what you mean.
Agree with that. I agree with that. But even though,
okay, I'm never going to be short because of my pension, but it's not a huge pension. It's good enough to have a reasonable lifestyle in Portugal. But I despair, and I really worry for the children that I've left behind because of broken marriages, etc. in the UK. I despair of the future of the UK. I really do.
But Joao, presumably, if Joao was talking to your kids, he would say, "No need to despair. You know, if you crack on and do what's necessary, you'll be fine in this culture."
Look, Carl,
yeah.
The point is, in the UK, if you're lucky, you get equality of opportunity, which I don't think happens.
I hear you.
I don't think it happens. You have no chance. You don't have no chance. You have equal chance, but it's an equal, very small chance. Because when you have that kind of society, the majority are going to fail. Only the minority are going to succeed.
Yeah. So in the same way that possibly Douglas is saying, you're only a socialist when you can afford it. You're only proud of being right wing when you've made it. They're the kind of mirror image of each other, aren't they? So there's a lot to be said for being right wing if you're successful, and there's a lot to be said for being left wing when you can afford to say that. Is probably a conclusion we can draw tonight. You know, I'm not saying it either is right or wrong. I'm just fascinated. I absolutely am, because when you were making comments before, when you tuned in, and you were making your obvious, you know, praise of Thatcher, it was fascinating to understand that. It really, you know, and my mother's the same, you know, as somebody who moved to the UK in the 60s as well, and you know, it feels like the luck she's had is the luck she's made for herself, and I would put that in line with more of a right wing kind of view on life than I would a socialistic one.
Well, I think to speak on my father's behalf, God bless him, he loved her as well, and he came over. He was at Wembley to see the World Cup back in '66, because he came over, I think, back in '65, and the first place he settled down was down in Cornwall. He was in Newquay like for a couple of years, then moved to London, then brought me and Mum over, and then my sister and my grand followed suit. I mean, it was all to do with work, because Dad couldn't get a job back in the day in Madeira. We were all miserable, and it was hard going. So he thought, why not immigrate to the UK?
Yeah.
Back then, you used to get a sort of it wasn't a visa; it was like a working permit. So every year you used to have to go to France for a day or two before he had his new permit renewed. And that's what they should have followed on nowadays. We wouldn't have a problem with immigration like we've got now. We gave up on all that. And every Dick and Harry can just get a bloody flight into the UK and live here and move in. And it wasn't like that back in the day. It was controlled. Immigration was controlled. And look at it, how it's turned out. That's why I talk about Maggie so much, because she had it all under control, mate. That's the way I see it.
João, you arrived in the UK just at the end of the post-war consensus, before the extremes, the politics in the UK got polarized. You know, your father wouldn't have been able to benefit from that kind of regime if Thatcher had already been in power. You'd never have got in. And yet you are coming from an extreme right-wing dictatorship.
See, but doesn't it all come from everybody's point of view? I'm an outsider here listening to you guys speak, and like everybody's coming from a different direction, a different point of view. So everybody views it in a different way, right?
Yeah,
absolutely right. And you know,
that's true. And you know, I'm very opinionated. I do understand other people's points.
No, and that's all fine.
Yeah,
everybody has their own opinion. They view things in a different fashion. So, you know, you see it different than Garbo sees it, Jao sees it, Carl sees it, Joel sees it. Everybody's looking at the same thing from a different point of view.
Mm. The thing is that in 1969, no thanks, Lenny. In 1969, Portugal was under a mature, if not a failing, right-wing dictatorship. It'd been around since 1933.
Well, you tell me, you were celebrating a week ago, weren't you? Vincent de Brin.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I was celebrating the downfall of the regime that your father left.
Joel's gone. Joel's left. There he goes.
That's my point.
I do understand. Andy, did you live in London? Did you ever live in London?
I lived in Birmingham, but I know London very well.
Okay. And you, Garvo?
My brother lives in Greenwich.
I'm from Birmingham. I am from Birmingham.
So you never lived in London, both of you?
I did.
I spent a lot of time in London, but I couldn't wait to get out, to be honest. I'm not.
That's why I think you've got to, I don't know how to explain it, but you've got to be brought up here or born here to understand it.
But Joel,
live in a city like this.
Not London.
I was born and raised in London, and I wanted to go. I can't do what you did, you know, and that's I think what Eric J is talking about. It depends on what you want from life, doesn't it? And to live the life I would be comfortable with in London, I'm not prepared to do the work. That's the truth of it. And I'm really taken aback and admiring of your dad's journey. You know, he left his family behind to see. Obviously, it wasn't a great life in Madeira. He went on his own which actually mirrors the story of a Syrian guy I met who left his family behind because of the absolute shithole the alliance turned his country into. But anyway, different same method but different circumstances. But your dad leaving you and your mum to go seek a better life and then bring you over when he'd done that is amazing, isn't it? That is a true.
And he didn't know a word of English, not one word.
Incredible.
Until he got here.
A cousin of mine did exactly the same thing. He went to London to work. Actually, he's closer to Scotland than to London. He's a little bit more up north, But my cousin did exactly the same thing. He left Portugal. He left Matosinhos. He was a first degree cousin, and he went there first. 1 year later, his wife went there, and his younger son. He had 2 kids there, 3 kids there. So he had another boy, 2 boys, and a girl. Recently, another girl there, and he's happily living there. He every year for holidays, he picks up either some plane or drives the car back here. He did exactly the same thing.
Go on, Garvo.
I'm just going back to a comment that was a few minutes back about the empire. It's true. It's true because, like, when we had the British Empire, we were able to draw on sources of very cheap labor and resources, etc., from all over the world.
The same thing can be applied to the Portuguese.
Yep.
And then, like, when the empire collapsed, we had the Commonwealth. Yeah. So we often opened the door to all our Commonwealth countries and some parts of Europe when we joined the EU, and imported cheap labor, which to me, right, was just another form of slavery, because we paid them pittance, we gave them the jobs that nobody else wanted to do, and to their own credit, right, these guys worked hard and they earned every penny that they got, but it's still to me exploitation of people. Yeah. So that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, that's what the Portuguese did. I have family in France. I have family in Germany. I have family now in England. That's what happened.
What would you want?
It wasn't just
qualified, but not. You want to buy qualified or capable workers, but not educationally qualified. That's what happened. We have plenty of those. You want men, you want labor, you want hard labor. You go to the countries where your income is less.
Well, there are a large number of Portuguese nurses and doctors in the UK as well. And Garvo, the exploitation is not just of the workers who come into the UK from Portugal or wherever else. It's also of the UK workers who then end up without a job because cheap labour is coming in. And I'm not a fan of immigration controls, so before anyone thinks I am. But it's the cheapest worker gets hired and the more expensive one gets fired.
There's only one person that profits, isn't there, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely.
The employer.
But that said, right, Joel's dad, my mother, if you say to them, do you think you're being exploited? They might not agree with you. They might say, I was improving my own life.
Right.
From your point of view, you think I'm being exploited. But it was the best thing I ever did for me and my family.
They were being exploited because before they came in, the rate for the job was 50 pence an hour more.
Yeah.
So they're being exploited.
And no offense to you, Joel, but your father, right, should have been paid exactly the same as anybody else who was doing the job, not less, not any less. So your dad worked hard for what he did, and he should have been paid the right rate. That's the point I'm trying to make.
The only reason people accept lesser rates is because they're coming from a worse situation, and because they're quite prepared to take a lower standard of living, whether it be in housing or in transport or in environment or whatever else. And what that does is it enables that lower standard of living to be perpetuated within the workers of that country.
The rich get rich and the poorer get poorer.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what happens in the end.
The ones in the middle pay the taxes.
The ones in the middle pay the taxes to keep it all going. Well, we've got 4 minutes to go on this, and it's been a most amazing evening. Starting off with whether we think Sagres or Superbock is better,
Superbock,
and then Sagres. We'll come back to that in just a minute.
It's beer. That's
Coral.
Okay, from Banderas.
You guys got to get some coral.
We'll try some. We'll try some. We'll get this.
That one evening. We'll get you back on, Joel. We'll try that together. But look at this. At 4 minutes to, why did Britain leave the EU? Did you all agree with the decision? With 4
No, otherwise we would still be in the UK.
Because the EU was corrupt and still is.
All right. I have it with
Because
this.
all are corrupt and still are.
Oh, bloody hell.
We're going to see if we can manage our frontiers now. From now on.
We knew what Joel would say about that, don't we?
You can't, Joel, because we need people like you to run Britain. We need people like your dad. Because we're just not going to do it otherwise.
Look, this is the country of opportunities. I don't have to go very far. I've got a son. He's just turned 31. He got his pub only 2 years ago. I mean, he's running his own pub. I mean, for a kid of 31, earning just over 40 grand a year, I wasn't earning that kind of money when I was his age. I mean, this is a country of opportunities. You've got to admit.
In London? It's relevant. How far does 40 grand go in London? The cost of living, etc.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got cut off.
If you had 40 grand in I don't know, some northern city like Leeds or whatever, it would be a lot of money. But in London, 40 grand is.
But he wouldn't be able to do that in Portugal.
I mean, now you wouldn't be. And his girlfriend is also manageress of another pub. So between them, they do quite well. I mean, they can get themselves a couple of apartments and rent them out. I mean,
oh, here we go. When the doc was
getting young again.
When I was young, my parents only needed one job between them, not
that's
2.5.
Gentlemen, look, shall we carry this forward to next week? Because the other question here from a great question from Nuno Souza, I beg your pardon. I have a question to all. Do you believe the dollar and pound are economically sustainable?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
We have less deficit. We have less deficit in relation to our GDP than we did at the end of the Second World War.
Fiat currency's over, mate. The bubble's going to burst, but we can't do that with two.
I'm still waiting for the Germans to pay Portugal.
People talk as if capitalism.
What was that, Joel? Sorry, didn't get that. What did Joel say?
I'm saying that I'm still waiting for the Germans to pay Portugal.
To pay, not to play. Sorry.
We were talking football. I'm waiting for that.
A quick question, Doc. Who do you support?
Which spot done?
Wait, in football?
In football.
Lyria.
And you, Carl?
Anadia. My local team.
Joel?
I don't support
not really football, mate.
Okay, and Garland is not into football. Eric, you're into football? Oh, sorry, soccer?
Soccer.
No, I know football. Man United.
Man United.
Okay, so there's
I'm sure you could have guessed
Chelsea
that.
fan.
You're a Chelsea fan.
Not a Chelsea fan. Oh, truly.
Who's your American football team, Eric?
No.
Why are you still here?
New York Giants. I'm actually
Giants.
Season ticket holder.
Wow.
Still.
I thought you were going to say Inter Miami.
It's rugby with protection. That's what American.
It's a very different game. Very different game.
Let's not start that debate either. There are
Next week.
Suddenly, loads of cans of worms have been opened. We need to go. We'll carry these forward because these are great questions. Scott, thank you. Great conversation, guys. And model United Nations. Absolutely. João, years ago, I spent lots of time with my Portuguese friends and eating in the Portuguese restaurants. I loved it so much. I was living in Brixton. Yeah. Stockwell and Brixton, great Portuguese community.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, Nuno Souza, Europe is not perfect, but still the only place in the world that's really civilized. My opinion, and I know most parts of the world. It's a point well made. There's room for improvement, but you've got a point there.
All the countries have room for improvement. The question is the capability of doing such. That all depends of various things. They all depends on the population. They all depends on the politicians they choose to be in government to rule them. They all depends on the economics and everything. The thing is, for us to develop our own countries and try to make it better, we are dependent of other countries to do the same thing.
All right. Let's leave it there for tonight. Shall I get another beer? By all means, if you want to sit there and drink alone and upset Mrs. a little bit more. Take care. Thanks for a good night. It's morning over in Australia.
Enjoyed it very much.
Nice to see you, mate.
Nice
to see you too.
Finally, Eric. And Andy the Doc, Sagres or Superbock?
Superbock.
Me, it's Sagres. Eric J, Sagres or Superbock?
No clue.
Joao, Sagres or Superbock?
Kroll.
Oh, okay. Garvo, Sagres or Superbock?
Neither. Argus 6.8.
Bloody hell. We've got nowhere near to answering this question, have we?
2-1 in favour of Superbock.
Maybe some things shouldn't be answered. You know that.
2-1 in favour of Superbock.
And we know it's. Oh yeah.
Tonight.
All right, fair enough. Tomorrow night, look, we can have another drink tomorrow night. It's this tomorrow.
It's this time.
Look, Portuguese wine party. Join us again tomorrow night for that at 8 o'clock Portuguese time. Let's have another drink tomorrow.
Mayday.
Bye-bye.
Up the workers.
Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Take care, Rick. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.